Hey, welcome back to the Dynasty Grind. My name is Peter Howard at PA Howdy on Twitter, which you've got to know. The only people that come here are people who know us on Twitter. Welcome back. We're going to be talking about some Dynasty. If you've got Scott Fishbowl questions, we're happy to talk about it. I imagine I didn't ask permission. I just said that. I spoke for two other people because, what are they going to do? They're backstage. Hey, guys. But yeah, Zach and Russ are both here this week, and I managed to make it on time. Look at that. I mean, sorry about last week and all. Drop questions, comments that you have as the show goes. We try to get them in order. We're kind of democratic about it, but the more of you ask more interesting questions, the slower we go. So I don't know. We might shake that up at some point. But so far, it's been working pretty well. We really appreciate you showing up to ask some questions and just hang out and talk some Dynasty for a while. So, yeah, appreciate that. I can't decide if you're all going to be interested in the Scott Fishbowl or just bored of Scott Fishbowl, or those people are like, down with Scott Fishbowl because everyone's talking about it. I don't know. Guess we'll find out.
Every week. Da-na-na-na-na-na. Peter just ditched us. Isn't he supposed to do an open here?
I don't know.
Hi, everybody. I can't control. I can't put stuff up on the screen.
Hey, here you go.
Got stuff to do, man. I got places to be. What do you want from me? Yeah, welcome back to Dynasty Grind. Dynasty Grind. That came out as one guttural noise.
There you go.
How's your Scott Fishbowl going? Scott Fishbowl treating everyone well?
Peter, I haven't made a pick yet. I don't know what my draft slot is. I got nothing. I'm driving to Boston on Saturday though.
You doing
He's
the Boston
driving
live
up to
draft,
Boston. Well, he's driving down to Boston.
Yeah, it's down, but not as far as Jamie Calandro. So I got that going for me. He's up another hour and a half up the coast. Yeah. So
BJ Lee asks who he play for Bubba Wilson, and I believe Jesus plays for a bigger team. No, he plays for Tampa Bay. I'm pretty sure.
Tampa, yeah, 3 years in Tampa.
You looking forward to the draft? I have never actually done a live draft, so I've got no context.
Oh, Peter, yes, live drafts are incredible, but
I have to go see what my dog is yelling at.
Good luck.
Okay,
I'm impressed that your dog is yelling though.
Me too. That's a skill.
I'm not bringing a computer. I've seen the live drafts. I am bringing your little cheat sheet that you posted.
Okay,
and that's it. I'm going to print that out, but I'm going to print it out like wallet card size. Yeah. So I'm just going to come in with that and be like, I got you guys.
Fair enough. Mine's going well. Thanks for asking. I've been enjoying it. We're pretty close to ADP, actually. ADP is a fiction. Everything's going in a slightly different order. But in terms of the interest, in terms of how we're drafting positions, it's been fairly consistent. We had a little while there where we're letting QB fall for a while because there's about 5 of us who are like, nah, I'm not paying up for nah. And then the other 6 are like, yeah, because we're taking the wide receivers instead of panic drafting quarterbacks. But it's been great. Brussels division, man. It's lit. 12-team Superflex, half-point PPR, 4-point touchdown. Boltzberg asks, Bazaltzberg? Fields and ETN or Carr and Higgins? I think this is Higgins, Carr.
Yeah, right? I'm going to take Carr and Higgins just because I prefer to have the wide receiver over the running back. And as much as we like to think that Justin Fields is going to be great, we already know Derek Carr is going to be right around that top 12. He's going to be somewhere between 10 and 16. So we'll take it. And if something out of the realm happens, he could be higher than that. So we'll take it.
Yeah, I'm even further than that. Like I will have to see it to believe that he can overcome that coaching staff. So I'm probably even a little bit lower.
Fields or Carr.
Yeah, but Fields. But I want to commit. I don't want to Donald Mooney. So I'm kind of neutral on him because of it. But I'm a little worried. He can run at least, so I'll go him over Wilson. Paul Cicero, will the show start 90 minutes late today?
No, 9 minutes. That's 1,000% better this week. We're feeling good about it.
You tell me, Paul. And we're only 9 minutes late because I was talking. Speaking of which, before the show, I was like talking to Russ because he was here at that point. And I was saying I like the Scott Fishbowl because it takes a lot of stuff we've been talking about theoretically almost. I'm not doing startup drafts every week that I'm paying intense concentration to. But with ADP, if you're not taking it seriously, but treating like an actual draft and treating your competitors seriously, it puts a lot of stuff we talk about. It takes it out of the theory realm. Like I'm hunting for this guy. I was saying, like AJ Brown fell compared to Dynasty because for a while now it's been looking like I'm low on AJ Brown compared to Dynasty. But where he fell to me in the Scott Fishbowl, I was like, oh no, that's good. If that's what his value on Twitter is actually represent, I was like, okay, I get that. I understand that. I was having an interesting question, or I was having an interesting debate in my head. Akash, the guy who came on this show, was in the 10th spot DM, and he was asking Keenan Allen or AJ Brown. And I said AJ Brown because he's got more upside. And like 3 seconds more thought, and I was like, why does AJ Brown have more upside than Keenan? Keenan Allen's a top 12. I know that. But why is he always top 12 and never top 5? I don't know. But that's what it was in my head. It was interesting. And that's one of the things I like. It makes you start thinking about some of it in different or a more practical way. How you doing, Russ? Is your dog joining the circus? Are you coming to tell us that you're leaving DLF now to go make your millions? Talking dogs. He can't. He's just ignoring it.
Chewy!
Oh. What were you yelling at, Chewy? What were you yelling at? Nothing.
Oh God, that's a terrible voice. We never make money off that voice. Paul's back. That's much better. I like that one. Paul Cicero, what should we expect from Chase Edmonds this year?
That's a good question, Paul.
I can tell you how I treat him or where I think his value is. What I expect is for him to pretty much do what he's been doing unless his injuries elevate him into a higher role. And then I guess we'll see if he's been better than his usage so far has been suggesting. I liked him as a rookie, but this far into his career, I don't think he's going to make it for himself, if you know what I mean.
Well, he was doing pretty well, even in the split with Connor.
I mean, he's fine.
He just wasn't scoring touchdowns, and Connor was scoring too many of them. So if he can have not even like Eli Mitchell share, but like the year before Raheem Mostert share, like give him 40 to 50% and staying healthy, he could be an RB2. I think you're going to be silly if you think it's never going to be more than that, but
well, and I think that's the thing, the at-large community, I think Edmonds feels like a little bit of a trendy sleeper. He's like a chic, like later round running back because Mike McDaniel came from San Francisco and people that like I know Peter doesn't do that narrative. Like that doesn't do it for me. And so it's going to be it'll be interesting. I think you're right, Russ. I think you're looking at a back end running back too, which is what he is when he's healthy.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Is he on Miami now?
He's
on Miami now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't like having to switch teams before you suddenly get a volume. I mean, he's fine. I think he can treat him like a very decent upscale backup / part of a split backfield, but he's not like my running back sleeper. I think can really dominate or anything like that.
Now
so it just puts him in that tier.
The JJ Zacharyson thing, though, when you're looking for breakout running backs, his first thing is look at nebulous backfields, and so that
it is an intro. Yeah,
but also
it's an interesting backfield, as is. But yeah,
he'll never have dynasty value. Let's just put that out there,
right? Yeah,
but
he said
that's kind of what
this year. So
putting it out there, yeah. Next question.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
I've clicked on it. I've got like a 15-second delay, apparently. I clicked on it, I swear. Will Austin Hooper be fantasy relevant in Tennessee?
He's a tight end.
Tennessee?
He's a tight end.
Yeah,
What happens if Treylon
he's a
Burks
good tight end.
isn't great?
Then he'll
Like-
be a
I think Austin Hooper's
mid.
in that mix of streamable tight ends, and he could
That's a-
elevate because he's done it before into a lot more usable.
And that's an improvement for
That's
him.
it.
That's kind of what I was
Awesome.
getting at. I'm not going to say he's going to be good, but you'll be able to start him. I think
Yeah.
you won't feel great about it, but
In the way you could start Anthony Ferkser occasionally,
which I had to do last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of which, I listened to the Dynasty Trade podcast, Trade Addicts podcast, whatever it's called this week, and you had Case Keenan on, which was exciting to me because I don't hear a lot from her anymore.
I would be super excited to have Case Keenan on.
She won't be on a podcast with me. Everyone does that too. Every time I wear her podcast shirt, everyone's like, "Hey, top 40." I'm like, "No, better, better version." So yeah, don't be that guy.
Wrong.
But you mentioned Zach Ertz, and like that very week, I was like yesterday, we were talking about Dalton Schultz and whether he's going to be top 5. So maybe go back and look at the top 5 in the Scott Fishbowl. The volatility of positional ranks is a little more variable in Scott Fishbowl scoring. By the way, I find it interesting. But anyway, Zach Ertz has been a top 5 tight end, like a really significant tier for that flexibility of Scott Fishbowl scoring 3 out of the last 4 years. Not last year, which I think you all mentioned. 3 out of the last 4. He missed 1, and it was not last year. Zach Ertz is going behind Dalton Schultz right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's good. For some reason, in this scoring format particularly. And I thought it was interesting, especially because it coincided with your podcast and me being able to defend not being overjoyed to draft Dalton Schultz ahead of who did I take in the end? I took Jalen Waddle. So yeah, screw you.
I was going to say Fryer. I'd rather have Waddle anyway. I think that's a good pick.
I took Schultz over so many people I should not have. I don't have a good reason for it.
And there's good reasons if he finishes in the top 5. And I'm like, I don't know, it's a little volatile. It should be a little more stable than it was last year.
I love that. Why'd you do that? Let me tell you in 6 months and see how it works out. And then I'll tell you why I did it.
I'll let you know. But no, I just said it now. That seems... Anyway, Paul also has a 102 in this year's rookie draft. Nice to see some still exist. I still have some exist. No fault of the commissioner. I got in trouble last time I pointed that out. So
I'm in that one, Peter. I'm into that.
Couldn't possibly be. It's my fault. And pointing it out is the same thing as being at fault. I have the 102 this year's rookie draft. Like Wilson over the other 2 wide receivers. I don't hate it. Wilson's a good prospect. Boats in London. Should I stick and pick or try? It's a good question. Do you take your guy if you can't trade back? That's essentially what this is. You should try and trade back a little bit, maybe just get something, or should you just take your guy?
In this instance, I would say just take your guy because you have no idea who anyone else likes. Because it's a tier. It really is like a flat tier to me, even with the landing spots, even with the time that has passed. I still put Garrett Wilson in the tier with London and Burks. And
it's very close, at least.
If you have a guy you like, why risk it? Just take the guy you want.
Especially since the last time we were talking about these guys, Burks has slowly slipped because he's got asthma and apparently has never even run at all. He's physically incapable of playing football, it turns out. So he point being, I think his rookie ADP has probably slipped a little bit. I don't think he's locked top 3. So you could trade back and end up with Burks because someone takes Wilson. And also rookie draft is literally where I'll draw a line. Like if you don't come give me something good for it, I'm just going to take my guy. I'm going to overdraft David Bell. If no one will let me trade back to the second, I'll take him late first. I'm just going to take who I want. I mean,
I got to be honest. I'm kicking the tires on trying to trade into the stop me if you heard this one, into the 2023 class, even with the 102.
Stop.
Yeah. Because again, we just talked about it. There is not a wide receiver 1 that has broken out, delineated himself, separated from the pack. So why am I going to settle for a guy that I'm like, when I know that next year there are, 7 or 8 players that I like better than anything in this draft, in this class.
I'm wondering if the best way to do that might be closer we're getting to the season, the more we're going to get, this rookie could be Jalen Waddle this year arguments. Right. And that's going to push interest. So I don't hate it as the season gets closer. Because who else is they going to throw to on that offense?
But there's so much less risk in what Zach is saying to do, because since there isn't, last year there was Jamar Chase at wide receiver, because I know Harris and Pitts were up there with him as well. But at wide receiver, there was Chase. Chase was a stud. And then there was other people at the back of the first. There's not that here. And there isn't even really a consensus top of the tier, which means you have no idea which of these guys is most likely going to be good. Of course, no one is ever guaranteed to be good. Chase could have been bad. For a while, he couldn't see the stripes on the football or something. So not only does trading it for 23 first insanely insulate the value of that asset. Cool. Let's say you trade the 102, the person drafts London. London has a good season. London moves up to the top 4-ish round startup.
Easy.
You have a top 6 pick. It's top half pick. It's probably still worth more than that first 4-round startup right now. Which, is that right? Probably not. But is it real? Yes. And not to mention, if you feel like trading it later, doing whatever you want, and I know Zach will probably hold on to it because he's good at draft analysis and using those picks. But if it was me, I let that third gain value and not risk me picking the wrong wide receiver. So there's a lot of reasons where I know 2 months ago I would have said, no, let me just take Burks. I like Burks. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, no, yeah, that's probably the right move and safe move at the same time. So I probably do it.
So yeah, I think the answer is just take your guy is our bottom line, especially if you don't get anything decent.
To answer the actual question,
we either want to trade into 2023, try that first, and I would throw out trade back into 2021. I'd go get some of those sophomores if I could. If I could use that pick with something else and get who do they hate right now? I mean, Jalen Waddle's ranked really high, but there's a lot of anti-Waddle sentiment out there. You might be able to find the guy in your league who doesn't like that. Devontae Smith, Elijah Moore just got company. I would rather trade into those guys by adding something to the pick. But if you want Wilson, I would take my guy. Yeah. I feel pretty good about it. He's a good prospect, going to a good place. It's fine. This is a take your dry guy class as well. I think that's what we were saying earlier in this draft season as well. This is where you pick your ranks, and if you can't get great trades, you just call your shot. Don't draft it because that's what ADP said you should do. You're probably going to regret that this year in particular, because there is a homogenous top 3-4 instead of a unanimous in any of our minds. Marvin Jones or Christian Kirk this year? Pass.
The this year is the real rub. Because if it was a dynasty question, it's Christian Kirk. Because I feel like they're going to be pretty similar this year.
Yeah.
Russ doesn't think so. Russ is going to take it's Christian Kirk.
Yeah, it is.
Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
Money. They both had previous similar levels of production. It's not like Marvin Jones is the old proven veteran here. They both fairly decently into their career. Jones has more of an injury history if it matters to you. And they're both top 24 wide receivers on their best day. So I take Kirk, I guess.
Somewhere between 75 and 85 catches and somewhere between 800 and 1,000 yards. There you go. And they're both going to do that.
Out of Kirk, but decent, consistent out of Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones might be the red zone target. Because, I mean, I'll never admit that Engram's good anymore at this point. But so it might be Marvin Jones.
I think if this is a trade
for Christian Kirk, and again, there's nothing real behind it. I just prefer him.
If this is a trade, it's a terrible trade in my mind. Same position with similar players. The only thing is one side has years. If this is a draft pick, I'm guessing there's something I prefer on the clock, but sure, take Kirk. Were you going to say add to that? Sorry. Sounded like you.
No, you guys.
Which Patriots wide receiver? Just getting ready. Will be the one to own this year?
Nikhil.
No, but the Bears bolstered up their offensive line.
I warn you. First person to make no, he's done.
Worth it.
For like 5 seconds. That's as much as I can be without Russ. It's Kendrick Bourne for me. But honestly, Jacoby Myers has got similar positives. But I like Bourne. It's just the way it breaks down for me when I look at where they're at, what the previous production was. That's where I'm at.
The real answer. So the answer is Jacoby Myers. Like I think he's going to see the target volume, but the sneaky value answer at the end of your draft is Devontae Parker because he's actually been better than either Bourne or Jacoby Myers for a season. It's the old Peter. We've seen him do it before. Like,
did we?
We did.
It was in a DJ Chalk kind of a fashion, I guess.
I mean, it still happened. He had 72 catches for 1,200 yards and 9 touchdowns. That is happening. Like that's more than any of the other guys have had like career. So
I was just trying to make some rough notes about a video I don't want to make about this. Last year, Jacoby Myers had a 21% target share. Devontae Parker had an 18% target share. He's been slightly higher. They're both in that low tier wide receiver one for a team. Kendrick Bourne was at 11.8. I think breakouts, players who exponentially outproduce previous levels of production, on average and typically increase their volume in the year that they break out. That makes sense to me. It's not every player. Some increase their efficiency. Some get a better offense. Some do just see an extra volume rise. But
right.
Players have already established or had enough time and seem to have established what they can do on an offense, I'm less likely to lean towards them. So Parker, like you said, we've seen it before. That's what it is. We saw Jacoby Myers have a full run last year. He had 21% target share.
Yeah.
It was touchdown variance. I was pretty happy with the selection as him as a deep round undrafted free agent ad and stuff like that. And Cooper Adams killed it with all his funny Jacoby Myers takes all offseason. But Kendrick Bourne is a guy we haven't really seen, perhaps, establish what he can do in terms of the target share. Now, that is probably just seeing what I want to see. He's probably more of a 11 to 13% target share guy, like MVS, like McCall Hardman. But he's a guy that may not have yet had the full run to establish himself. And he's in an interesting career year in terms of developing into that breakout year for an undrafted free agent. Jacoby Myers, that was last year, and we saw what he did. Devontae Parker, he's a first-round draft pick. If anything, he was late. Right. But I think we've seen his ceiling. And that's what makes me interested in Kendrick Bourne. It's not like he should or it's common. It's just, I think maybe I'm more interested in that, especially since it's well adjusted for draft capital. But yeah, the real answer is Hunter Henry. So, yeah. I mean,
that's where the red zone is going to be. I mean, that's if you watch the Patriots at all last year, Mac Jones was locked on Hunter Henry in the red zone.
So many touchdowns.
I mean, why wouldn't you be? That's the actual proven high level at his position.
Yep.
Another Scott Fishbowl chat. Someone's throwing out tight ends. He's looking for a tight end. He's left it till late, and he's naming these Smith, and I'm like, never Smith. And everyone loves Smith, but me. And he's like, I know my options are really weak right now. I'm like, yeah, but never Smith, man. I go for Hurst, anyone. Evan Ingram still available, and he's like, Hunter Henry. And it was that moment of realization that people really don't like Hunter Henry. He's he should be 2 tiers above that easily.
Become the next
I'm ranking him top 12 this year.
It's him coming in behind Gronk and everyone going, oh, he's not Gronk.
And expecting Jonah. Jonah was a sleeper for a lot of people instead of the guy who'd done it before. And I think, it's a lot of things, but I think it's just.
Johnny had some moments.
And
he had a real good run in preseason.
Had such a rough go. Didn't he have a late bloom start? Essentially, because didn't he have boiling hot water poured on him one of his last years of college, and it took him forever to recover because that's a serious injury, certain levels of burn. Yeah,
really?
That slowed his development he hadn't really fully recovered by the time he got to the NFL. Super athletic, giant guy, really showed some positives. But I mean, and Emery's managed it. But I like Jonah a lot as a prospect. But and that's a memory of an injury that I did not research, so I could be wrong. Someone let me know if I am.
I don't think I've ever heard that before.
Oh no, yeah,
definitely
FIU, yeah.
Yeah, which is horrible, and again, he's huge, super athletic, has earned roles in an offense, definitely can catch touchdowns. What did you call them? Ambiguous situations?
Ambiguous backfields, but ambiguous situations work.
Eric Bourgeoisie, I know that's not what your name is, but that's what
it is now.
Going with a couple of Ross St. Brown on the 106.
Cup.
If your team is not a top 7 team,
if your team's bad,
you can get more.
Not
than
even
that
bad,
for
but
Cup.
like in the middle.
Can you?
I don't know. You can.
So, do you know what's going to happen this season with Cup and Stafford?
Same thing as last year. Well,
Cup is going to be the wide receiver 1 unless he gets hurt. In season, you can get more than the 106 in last year's class and St. Brown for Cooper Kupp. Like, don't do this now, Eric. Peter Proletariat says no. Oh, wait.
That's fair. I do think I do like Amon-Ra St. Brown, though. Like, I think he'll shut some people up this year, and his value's going to rise as well. But that's a 22 pick.
People think he's bad?
No, but it's been a weird thing.
He's
so like
down there a lot.
You had the Amon-Ra St. Brown at the end of last season. Everybody was like, he's a first round pick, and then they were like, oh, they drafted somebody. and it's like you knew they were going to. He's still the volume.
They were wrong, and then went back to the right place for the wrong reason,
and then
went too far.
Yeah,
it's even further wrong.
It's what we
figured it out. I figured it out.
Wow.
We spend all off season arguing who's good enough to earn volume, right? And then the next year we argue we argue who's going to get the volume because it's sticky and it means players are good and it doesn't go away and that's what you want. And then the next year we argue why the players who got the volume are going to lose it because that's not who we thought were going to get it. Like that's it.
Yeah, we don't like
that's the dynasty process. So if you just ignore the second step, you're golden. Really? Sorry, I was excited to figure that out because I couldn't figure out why people kept going back to being wrong after being shown what was right. And it's that. It's like poetry or something. No? Okay. But yeah, this is Cup. Especially because that's a 22 pick. Like, get out of here. You're not getting out of the 22 draft and getting Cup. Get out of here. Yeah. Like, give me a 23 pick, baby. Does Baltimore have 3 viable? Yes, they have 3 great receiving options. They do not have great 3 fantasy receiving options. Sound fair?
I'm trying to come up with
Isaiah Likely's getting some buzz out of camp. Big play Duvernay still out there. James Prochet.
All I can see is the gif of the kid who throws the 60-yard pass to himself and runs under it and catches it. Like, is that the third option? Can you do that?
Dobbins.
Maybe. To me, it's Mark Andrews and Bateman for whatever everybody is saying about Bateman. Bateman is a good receiver.
They are going to make up more than 50% of the target share.
Yeah.
Maybe, but probably not. That's not what happened last time they went to a more run-heavy volume. It's not like Marcus Brown and Andrews shared 50% of the targets and were still fantasy viable. That's not what this team does. Also, I do think they added good tight end depth. Baltimore has a history of drafting 2 tight ends. The last time they did that, I think they do it pretty much every year. There's never been a year one of them at least didn't produce a top 12 season eventually. So I do think there's a third option on there. I think one of those tight ends could well work out. I mean, it's stretching it for this year, but I think one or the other. I think, what's his name? I have to add him because I forgot him because he's a rookie tight end, so who cares?
Likely.
Cola? Is that his name? I know, but yeah. Tyler Batty, there you go. This year's third receiving option. But yeah, they've got 2 incredibly strong ones, which I think any offense is good for. But yeah. Russ, are you a Clemson fan? No, he hates Clemson. He said it
I don't
many
watch
times.
college football, to be honest. I just like the wide receivers that come out of there. Is really what it comes down to.
Do better than me. The only reason I know of a college football team's name is because Clemson big wide receiver. Like, that's it. Eric, Goff, DJ Moore on the 110 or Keenan Allen on the 102?
So many people
Both
haven't
great.
done their draft yet.
I know, right? It's exciting. I thought we were done with these questions, and I like them, so that's good.
Now, if this is a super flex league, it's Goff Moore in the 110.
Yeah,
fairly easily. Goff is a serviceable quarterback.
You'll get at least a good year out of him. DJ Moore, if anything, he has a value spike right now, and this isn't reflecting that. So yeah, if it is super flex, which I assume it would be to have Goff included in this.
Yeah.
But if it's not,
I'd rather have Allen in the 102.
Me too.
But it's close.
Because it's a 22 draft. And the
102 is fine. Like I'd take Burks. Like I'd be happy with it, but
be happy. Well,
I'm not as happy as I am if I have Goff and Moore, and like at the 110, you're looking at. I'd probably pick David Bell. So
in a super flex, you could get Pickens. To be fair,
yeah, you could. Yeah, so
yeah. Alan Davis. Good evening. Hey, Alan. Thanks very much. Ethan, we are currently only 30 minutes behind.
That's not bad. It's way better than we have been in previous iterations of this show.
This subject's coming up again. What would you give up for Watson right now? I would see this as a potential time to get him off my roster. That's not just I don't want him on my roster thing. There is a whole range of outcomes here, and in Dynasty, your job is to mitigate risk.
You also miss the cheapest he will be. I mean, where you're past that, especially now.
That's what I mean.
People are going to be spitting rumors every other day. Like that report came out yesterday, I think it was, of like it's only going to be 4 to 6 weeks. And in the 112 SFB chat, there's a dude with a verified account who covers the Browns. He's like, never listen to that guy. He makes stuff up to get clicks. He has no backing to this.
Yeah, there's no way anyone knows any more information right now. Anyways, but that's why I'd say I'd see it as a sell window, because there's probably a few more ups and downs. But again, it's all about what the trade is. I'm definitely trading in for that upside in 2022, even in Dynasty. I really don't think it's worth it. Situation agnostic.
Talking to Addison,
he should miss at least half this year, even if he only missed 4 games. How long does it take to him learn the offense? How long does it take to him get back to putting up top 5 games? I don't think he's a viable starter until way close to your playoffs, and then maybe the values come back. So maybe. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yes, let's talk about Deshaun Watson.
Joe, Russ, dogs yell instead of bark. They do round here. Yes.
Oh, my dog yells. So does this one.
Jared
and also hits with giraffes.
Anyone believe in CEH as a win now piece? No, I do think he's entering somewhat of an interesting breakout year for running backs. Running backs do sometimes break out in their 3rd year into the top 12 after having similar production to CEH. And where he's priced right now outside the top 24, yeah. But it's difficult to give that
price. If that's what you call a win now piece. I don't think he has a chance of being RB1 or anything. But he could be solid, and he could do better than he's done before, just because there isn't that pass catcher to steal the work from him, even though the fact that Darrell Williams, we are considering a pass catcher that stole work from someone, it's still one less guy there, and Rojo isn't catching passes.
Yeah, the offense is going to rebalance, and that might just include 10 extra targets for CEH, and that's really what we're looking at. That's
better schemed runs.
Yeah,
so it's weird how I can turn I wanted nothing to do with him. Then they got rid of Tyreek and brought in Rojo, and I'm like, maybe Like now I find myself with like 3 shares, and I'm like, I'll hold these.
I think his value is undeniable. Whether he is a win now piece, I think he's too cheap not to try to add him for his current value. If whoever's owning him is like, no, at first, like, nah, I'm okay with not trying to go in.
Well, I think the problem is that Jared has him, and so now he's like trying to figure out whether we trade him. Yeah, and I think, well, I mean, I'd kick the tires on trades, but I would be looking for like wide receivers. I'd be looking at like Ayuk or maybe Allen Robinson, maybe St. Brown, like that's in the neighborhood. So those are the players that I would be thinking about. But having CEH on your team is not the end of the world by any stretch either. Like if you can't get good value for him, hang on to him, and he may do exactly what Peter said and be pretty good.
Yeah, if I can get Amon-Ra St. Brown for him, sure. Otherwise, I think for a second round value kind of a player, I'm keeping him. I'm going to see. I mean, we've been disappointed this far. Why not? What up? 12-team Superflex start 10 traded Deshaun Watson. I like that. 24 third for Goff, Sky Moore, and 223 first.
Yeah, absolute win.
Yeah, walk-off win, man. Good job. Josh.
I always read that Mayday in Robin Williams from Aladdin. I go, Mayday, Mayday, always. So, sorry, I don't know.
No, that's good. Josh, 16-team PPR, Superflex, Tyreek or Barkley and a 202. I passed on Barkley and I still kind of feel bad about it. I want Barkley. I really do think I want Barkley here. Normally, I would go with the wide receiver. 16-team league. I think I'll take the extra spread of depth at second, maybe. Who knows? That's like the mid-second.
That could be Trey McBride, Peter.
Yeah, just take Barkley. There's very few upside high-priced running backs that do that for. It's CH and it's Barkley right there. This seems a little high for Barkley right now, but
I think I'm still taking Tyreek.
Fair enough.
But it's close. Like it's not. There's not a lot to choose between it. But I think especially, Barkley has that ceiling, but I'm pretty confident in where Hill is going to score.
That's fair.
But it's close, Peter. I'm not like I wouldn't laugh at you if you took the Barkley and the 202 side. And I would cry if Bell fell to the 202 in a 16 team and you got him.
That's fair. Sorry, I'm updating for my Scott Fishwell draft. Ron T, who do you guys think has the most upside in Dynasty? Traylon Burks, Chris Olave, Christian Watson, or Drake? It's Drake, right? Drake London. You're asking the wrong two. Rush should probably be here as a third arbiter. Both of us think Burks, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and I think of the four that you have listed, it's Burks and London fairly close together. Still Burks, then London, and then the other two are below. And I still prefer Olave over Watson. And I know that's kind of taboo at this point. A lot of people like Watson. A lot of people like how big and fast and the fact that he's tied to Aaron Rodgers for now. You never know what Aaron Rodgers is doing. Yeah. So, but I still think it's Burks, London, Olave, Watson for me.
Sorry, I'm coming back. I swear. Ron, just in case you're interested, we put out our rookie ranks for a while ago. Mine are all in my database, which is pinned to my Twitter timeline. I mentioned it because it's free. Sometimes people see that Patreon link and it's like, nah, I'm not giving you money. No, I put out rookie stats, all the ones I've got, everyone back to 2000, and I try and include my ranks for this year. My post-draft ranks are in there, and that's how I have it. I have it Burks, London, Olave, Watson out of the ones you have ranked here. And I also did a little tiering and stuff. Not because you should follow them, but if you're ever interested, you can find out my ranks for anyone in this rookie class right there. Zach, do you put yours? I know you've posted them on Twitter, but is anyone?
Yeah, I posted my pre-draft rankings. If you want all of my thoughts, you actually need to hack my Google account because I have
get on that.
Yeah, I have like 16,000 words on rookies plus my rankings in my Google account, but I haven't. For a couple years ago, 4 for 4 wanted them, and
But they
then
wouldn't give you
some.
any money for
Well,
them,
no,
right?
no,
Well,
they would. They
They
would.
wouldn't let you use them.
Yeah, that
it.
was the and then I've had a couple other people poke around and
They're really good notes. As a non-film grinder, I've read a couple because every now and then I ask, and Zach will tell me,
Yeah.
and they're interesting. I can understand them as someone who doesn't understand tape. Put it that way.
well, and that's kind of what I try to do is make it accessible because it's not as scary as people think. It really isn't.
Make it idiot proof. I get it.
Well, I'm a
Would
dummy, so
Pete-
that works.
Would Pete understand this? Nope. Gotta rewrite it. Paul's back. Chubb and Zach Wilson or Sutton and a first? In Dynasty, I'm taking Sutton and the first. Yeah. And I'm assuming Superflex, so
it's got to be super. If it's not Superflex, then it's Sutton in the first easy. It is, man, there is a little bit of pause because Chubb, is going to be a back end top 12 running back. Zach Wilson, as much as Peter and I don't think he's going to be successful, the Jets are doing everything that a good franchise, which is weird to say. The Jets
outside of managing the team well, and hopefully they do that. Hopefully they've got a good offense and there's not going to be locker room trouble. But as far as putting stuff around him, this is perfect.
It's wild. They've done offensive line. They've done pass catching running backs. They've done, receiver. Like it's wild.
Yeah.
So it's still Sutton in the 23 first to me, but it's a lot closer than I would have imagined last year with Zach Wilson.
Or even before the draft, to be honest with you. They've really done a good job, and I hope he succeeds. I really do. But for me, for right now, I take that 23 first and hope it's a quarterback.
And I think Sutton has a real good. I think Sutton is sneaky, potential top 12 wide receiver this year.
That's the other part of it. Got sniped on it. Don't rub it in. Sorry. Are you good? I made my choices. Good evening, all. Welcome back in. Joe! Peter, how come you didn't come talk to us during the podathon, even though you were watching and commenting? You're such a lone wolf sometimes. I wasn't asked. That's
Peter, I hosted for a while. You're always welcome when I host. Come on. Next time I'll drop you the link. They don't know this, but I will.
I don't like to stick my oar in. I also know the podathon. Some people, it's their chance to get their face in front of the community. I don't want to take up not that I don't want to be more known because I want money, but I don't know. It felt like getting in because my friend or I was on at 5 a.m. just doing research and Dave was hosting. I was like, I'm pretty sure if I love to talk to Dave. Yeah. But he also had people coming on regularly and I didn't want to take up any of their space. That was their space, But honestly, that's the reason I don't know how to get on. I didn't know how to get on. I didn't arrange to get on, but I would have been more than willing to. It was being shared on my Twitch channel. That's why I was there. I wanted to help out. I just didn't want to butt into anyone else's space. You know what I mean?
The real reason, Joe, is because Peter, being the magnanimous human being that he is letting the little independent guys like Matthew Berry get their shot.
I didn't realize I was being a jerk, but I guess I should have known since it's natural. That was my thought process. If it makes me more, we already knew I was a jerk, but I felt like I might upset some and also ruin someone's night.
I'm assuming that's Chewy. Yeah.
Carl Pitts burner. What I read. I passed on Pitts too, and I feel bad about it. Swift and a 23 first or Walker. Ken Walker, right?
Yeah.
Judy and a 23 second.
I want Swift in the first. I know you automatically you don't want to have the Swift side, but I want Swift in the first in this one.
I want the Swift in the first side here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Judy's interesting in the same way that you were saying about Sutton. I mean, one of them has that upside. Not entirely sure which one.
And both of them could be top 24 and pushing top 18, top 16. There's that potential.
I really do think this is a kind of year where a Jordan Howard happens. A Walker isn't such a terrible thing, but so I think this trade's even. But for me, I'd take the Swift in the first. Good trade. Both teams are probably getting stuff they like. Yeah, I like it. Gavin. I like the Gavin with a Y. There's something classy about that. You know what I mean? 12 teams to flex, half-point PPR. Start 10. Deontay Johnson. There you go. Yeah, I really like Deontay this year, and where is value of that? A 24 first or a 23 first. What is that?
2 seconds.
24 seconds and LaVisca. Yeah, Devontae for me. Deontay.
It is. I hate to do that to the 23 first, but it's Deontay. Sorry. Deontay.
Good job, Gavin. You made Zach give up a 23 first. That's actually rare. I don't think he's taken the non. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm reasonably rational. I just think the 23 is going to be really good, but Deontay Johnson, I know, is really good.
I largely haven't disagreed when you've done that, to be fair. But yeah, this is a nice even trade. Deontay's one of those guys for us, I think. She's talking to Weaves, which is awesome. Eric, Goff and DJ Moore or Keenan Allen, the Bills DST in a 23 second. Yeah, I don't gamble on the DST thing too much. Bills should be good, but I take Goff, DJ Moore there.
Yes, but if it's super flex, it's still Goff and Moore. Yep.
It remains. Andrew, one quarterback. Finally, thank God. Superflex questions, man. 12-person PPR, 6-point throwing touchdown league. Got it. Would you trade Trey Lance for a 25 first?
Yes.
If you have Josh Allen.
Yes. One quarterback.
It's one QB. Yeah.
Get a first.
Easy. Yeah. You got Josh Allen. You're good for a while, I think. Yeah. Swift plus a first greater than. Hey, we got it right. Appreciate that. Dotson and Sky Moore or Amari Cooper. It was interesting this year. Just like I don't feel strongly about one way or the other, but he is one of those dirt cheap, proven old guys. Interesting. But Dotson, Sky Moore or Amari, a 24 first and a third.
I want Cooper in the first.
Cooper. Yeah. Basically the reason I said before knowing the question.
Yep.
Sky Moore is going to enter that category of players who I want to like, but everyone's going to be higher on me until he either busts or hits, I think. It's like Bateman. I want to like him more than everyone else. I really like him. But everyone seems to continue to like him more than I do.
I do like the news coming out of Washington that they're talking about using Dotson in the slot.
Oh, okay.
Which would that would move him up a little. Like, I still want Cooper in the first. Like, let's not confuse anything, Justin. But I do like the news out of Washington that they're talking about using Dotson in the slot. I think that's a better place for him because watching him the way he won in college, I don't think he's going to be able to win in the NFL. But he's so quick. He does that real quick change of direction, and that playing out of the slot might really benefit him.
Do you have any way of passing through the things that, like, I just ignore it? I have been lied to by coaches way too many times. I just remember it. I don't know when it's good information or bad information. So I like hearing it, but I don't go looking for it anymore. I very rarely wait it. Is there anything type of news that you'll... Sorry, you get the question, right?
This was just that he was working out of the slot.
Yeah.
And so like that, like if somebody reports this is what's happening in practice, that to me is a lot more, well, because you're not gonna waste snaps in practice on having somebody play somewhere where they're not gonna be used in, going forward. It just doesn't make sense, or at least not much. So
it just reminds me too much of like this guy's playing with the first team. He's going to start, and there's
different.
But I know what you mean.
Different than that, like for like where you're getting your reps in terms of like who you're getting your reps with. I'm a lot less concerned about than I am where you're getting your reps in terms of position, because again,
you found that more useful.
Yeah, you need to like. They need to have reps doing what they're going to do when they play. They don't necessarily have to have reps with the other guys to understand, especially as a rookie. Like, you don't necessarily have to be running with the ones to learn the offense. but you have to be playing the position you're going to play.
Okay, this is interesting. Kyle Pitts-Burner asks Gerard what else is needed because he was saying Swift on the first, which is the side we took. So I guess we can take that as a question for us. What would the other side need to add to move you off the Judy side? Or onto the Judy side? I think the thing here is the second isn't doing much for either of us, and we're both a little low on Walker. So either you could take the first and the second out, it's a lot more even. Just take the picks out of it. Or you can upgrade Walker. And you could also take the second off, depending on how much you upgraded. But that's the way I think about trades. It's like, if this is too far balanced, I need to switch them. I don't want to add to it. I want to change the value of the things that are already there. You got a better idea?
No, I like that. And I think what Kyle Pitts-Burner is trying to do is get Swift and the first. And so, I think it's going to have to be a little painful. Like it is. Swift is a top 3-4 running back, and the 23 first is a 23 first. It's one of the most valuable assets in Dynasty right now. So you're going to have to put something else in there. And Peter, I like what you said. Now, if your team, I'm trying to think, if your team is,
I got some.
Well, okay, yeah, roll it.
No, I wanted to show an example of how I was thinking about the trade, but Karen.
No, good.
I was going to say, one way you could actually get that first and Swift is you're trying to sell Judy's upside here, and I get it. Instead, like Zach says, it's going to have to be a little painful. You might have to keep Judy and put someone there that isn't just upside. You're keeping someone on your roster, I imagine. You've got a Higgins, for example. That'd win it easily. And then you get the first and Swift, and you could probably keep your second. That's another way of going around it. I was talking about I'd rather change the running back up. I'd rather take the second out. But you could also upgrade the wide receiver. And what sticks out to me here is that Walker is unproven and a rusher, and Judy is all potential, no proven production. So you could go the other way in either one of those directions. The trade I was going to read somewhat of it's almost the exact same feeling I got. I recently got, I asked John about a trade for Jalen Waddle, because I'm doing my best not to send terrible offers. Me and John differ a lot, reasonably. He's a good guy. He knows what he's doing. We just think very differently about players. So I was like, what could I send you? Just don't tell me the exact, but like, give me an idea of where to start so I don't just send you one that you insta-reject. And he sent me one that was Marcus Brown and Pat Freiermuth. I would be offering. But he also included a second round. Let me see. Marcus Brown, Pat Freiermuth, 23 second on my side, and he would give me Waddle, Austin Hooper, and a 24 second. But the picks just seem to make it messy and confusing for me. So what I did is I literally just took them out. I'll keep my third, you keep your second, and then it's a much clearer swap for. And we ended up doing the trade. Marcus Brown for Freiermuth, straight up for Waddle. So he got to keep Hooper. And we just took the picks out of it. You simplify it, but you also up the value of one particular piece of it by letting him keep the ancillary players. This is what this reminds me of. Don't add, try and consolidate parts of the value.
Now, if I am looking at, and I don't have Kyle Pitts' team in front of me. It's not really Kyle Pitts, but it's fun to say. Right. This is cool. Like if I had his roster in front of me, I'd be looking for players like Cam Akers, Dobbins, Antonio Gibson, ETN, that type of player, where if I could instead of Walker, give one of those guys that other people are higher on, that I'm still concerned about. It's a little bit nebulous with their range of outcomes. That's what I would try to do, because I think Walker is that rookie, and he's got the knocks on his pass catching. There are some other guys who have a little bit more hype built around them, that if you have one of them on your team, that may be somebody to stick in that, to just plus it up a little bit.
Yeah. Again, we don't mean to go on too long about these questions, but we tend to get asked pretty good questions, and we like to try and give our full. We don't have a yes/no process. So hopefully,
And something like this
talking
is
it through
great.
helps.
It's great.
I
for
thought
theory.
that was really, I
Yeah,
thought
it's
that was
great
really interesting. Yeah,
Yeah,
good way, Gerard.
That's
Sorry.
that's what we that's what we try to do is give you a little bit of theory. Like, we'll answer your question, but beyond that, give you like the why behind it. Because if we just give you your answer, that you just get that one answer. But if we give you the theory, it means the next decision, you can start to use that. So
That's why I like this. He was asking Jared, but we talked about it for a while, but we didn't offer alternatives to how to change it because we didn't know which side you were on, frankly.
Right.
But it's okay to ask, like, okay, but what would need to happen to make it the other side is a fair question. I think it's an interesting dynasty one because I constantly, like with that trade with John, I hated that when I had it queued up, but I was like, that's what it is. That's where he's at. Like, I don't want to give up Marcus or Pat Fairmouth. But given what he's told me,
I like the Waddle.
The best way I can consolidate this to get Waddle, that's the best trade I can get from Zon. So I could either accept that or realize I just wasn't going to get it done. And it's an interesting part of Dynasty. It's painful. It should be painful. Should pay for what you think's good, right? It's not always this guy didn't know he was good. Most of the time it should be. You can't have to pay up for what you think. Andrew Carlson, 1 QB, 12-person PPR. Would you trade Deontay, Chubb, and KJ Osborne for ETN and Garrett Wilson? So to me, this is Deontay, Chubb for ETN and Wilson. And I want Deontay. Yeah, I want Chubb. I'd take Chubb. ETN's interesting, but we're past his value rise section now. Well, there's probably a little more to go. But yeah, Deontay
it depends on how he does now. Like, that's the thing. Like, you got the ETN rise because he's healthy. And now it depends on how he plays, which is
also think, the closer we get to the season, the more redraft content's going to come out. And not that because redraft content makes mistakes, but it's more people are coming back and they're hearing it for the first time. And Matthew Berry podcast starts getting downloaded more often. And people hear that ETN should break out this year. So there's still a few people left to come in on that train. But I get what you mean. In Dynasty, we'll probably bad time. Hey Russ, how you doing? Fancy being on a podcast?
I'm still awake. That's a victory to me.
I'm happy. What do you think of this trade? Deontay and Chubb basically for ETN and Garrett Wilson. We went with a Deontay Chubb side. Differ? Same.
The ETN and Wilson side is so much more fun, but I think Deontay.
That's fair. Again, it's another one of those trades where you're getting two young players for two older. Like, I think it's a fair enough trade offer. And I just chose the side I prefer. Kyle Pitts Burner, hey, happy to meet you too. I'm reading Joe's conversation. Apologies. Can Deontay Johnson's value only increase if he's not on the Steelers next year? I
don't think it has that much higher to go.
I think he's older for a breakout. I think players switching teams at 50-50, whether we like that or not. Look at Juju. I mean, he went to KC. Yeah, I think he's just an undervalued, proven wide receiver. Sometimes Jarvis Landry, sometimes they happen. Which is nice, honestly, because it means there's this perpetual value if you're not scared of it. Hooper is okay. I think that's fair. I think it's underrated how few tight ends are actually okay because we're so used to streaming. But yeah, Hooper's good. He's fine. Kind of fine. Jared, something. Oh, he was answering the question too. I'd say another second. Didn't mean to read that one.
Oh, if you're getting the other side of that, Jared, like, no, just hang on to it. You don't have to trade.
You don't have to. No. Never have to. I think he's trying to sell Swift and asking us because I may have always constantly been saying sell Swift. That's not enough to sell Swift. It's that simple. You should be able to pick who you want, pick several players that you want that you think are a decent value, and send offers to those teams for what you think is decent for Swift. That's the way I go. And if I don't get it, Swift's fine. Like, you don't have to sell Swift. I just think it's a pretty good window to try and get the upside value for him. Joel A, 1 QB, 12-team dynasty, Debo and Dylan for London, and I assume middling 23 first. I think it's just Debo for me.
Yeah,
It's London and a random 23 first.
For London and a
It's
first.
Debo. And Dylan. I mean, that's fine. That's good. That's good. I don't mind that.
That's kind of easily the Debo side to me.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying Debo before I recognized Dylan was there. So, yeah. I like Dylan, actually.
I think it'll be good enough.
Yeah. Is Gaskin going to be crowded out? I think. I think he's going to be part of a really frustrating.
Yes.
I think he's going to be a part of a really frustrating committee, and his role is going to shrink from here. Unfortunately, I really went in last year, but
since it's always like the easiest thing in the world to just like equate to San Francisco players, like he's going to be Jeff Wilson.
There you go. Kind of, I guess. Ethan, can't say Walker don't catch if he hasn't played in the NFL. That's fair. And to be fair, if you find me and Zach saying seriously that he can't physically catch a football well, I'll sub to your channel. I'll sub to your channel anyway. Actually, just send me the link. I'll sub to it. But that's not what I don't think that. I don't think this amazingly talented athlete can't catch a ball. I think that would be a ridiculous thing to think. Although it's happened. Who was that Giants running back? He wasn't amazingly talented, but like he literally seemed to have stone hands. Yeah. He's a later draft pick, but he did get some run eventually. I can't remember. But he really did seem to be struggle with the concept. But so would I. I would be more concerned with dying if I was on the field, so I can't point fingers. Penny has 5 games before season-ending injury. Wow, that's a... I hope not. I hope he's okay. Love the grind from all 3. Oh, thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Did we answer Joel's question? I feel bad now. Yes, we did.
Yeah,
it was a good question. That's fair. And you are selling proven value for upside players. And I think that's why we both swing the other way. It's probably a nicer way of saying group of bums, but there you go. They're really into this trade. Peter, the NFL isn't in the business of making you do what you didn't do in college. There you go.
I mean, that's a convoluted way, but he's right.
That's literally how I would say it, though. I can't say a sentence with 5 words if I can use 10. Come on. Mm-hmm. There's exceptions, but he's right in general. And yeah, that's as good as I can do. Right? Melvin Gordon, by the way, I don't think it's as drastic as Walker would have to be, but he didn't catch the ball nearly as much as you might think, since he is a full 3-down running back on 2 different teams in the NFL. Yeah. Like he's one of the exceptions. It happens,
but
it happens a lot.
But he started out. He started out not being. He started out not catching the ball at all because Danny Woodhead was there. And when Danny Woodhead got hurt, they went, "We're going to find out if you can catch it."
Did I miss the conversation? Did Melgo break the Zach Rule read? Like
the who?
Did he?
No. He was not a pass catcher in college.
Like I knew he wasn't one. I just didn't know if he just happened to have a season where he did it.
I don't believe so. I will effort that for you, Russ.
My go-to is also like Adrian Peterson. If you think Adrian Peterson was not physically gifted enough to catch balls in the NFL, I would question that. But he never really was asked to be a receiver, even though every year, even at the last part of his career where I was playing fantasy, we'd hear reports about how he was finally going to start being used in the pass. He didn't need to be, so it didn't matter. And that's Derek Henry's story as well. Sometimes it doesn't matter.
So close though. Gordon had 19 as a red shirt junior, his 4th year, but
threshold to threshold.
I mean, threshold's a shrug, but yeah.
Numbers are magic, you know. I mean, if you don't hit a certain number, it becomes physical. Not that you can. The type of offense Walker was, he didn't want to. Yeah, I think there's multiple reasons why players don't. It's not, again, but also I think it's underrating the position a little bit. It's not like you step into the NFL and running back is so easy that he would have to pick it up. Like it's not easy, quote unquote, to catch balls in the NFL. It is to catch a ball, relatively, but it's difficult in the NFL. And it's not just being scared of people running at you, as I often joke. I mean, even catching a dump off pass, there's stuff to learn there. And players who've been doing it more in college have 3-4 years experience doing it, not to mention high school, perhaps, that they've been doing it at a reasonably high level. Like, don't completely dismiss the ability of players who do it. You know what I mean?
It's the same argument though that you hear every time a running back comes out, that people want to be, the elite running back. I mean, it was the same way with Chubb. When Chubb came in and everyone was like, Nick Chubb is going to catch, 1 million balls. And I'm like, well, Duke Johnson's a better pass catcher than Chubb is. So, and then all of a sudden Hunt ended up there, who's also a better pass catcher than Chubb is. If you're not the best pass catcher in your backfield, you're probably not going to dominate the receptions in the backfield. And if you haven't proven that you were the best pass catcher in your backfield in college, and you haven't shown that that's a very important facet of your game, the NFL is not very creative. They're not. They're looking for you to do what you did because that's why they drafted you. So it's not that he can't, Ethan. I'm sure he can, but it's a lot less likely because he hasn't than it would be if he had. I
was having a conversation recently about the difference between you have to make guesses to win in fantasy, which is true. But my point's always been we're guessing at above the value of what normally happens. And that's where mistakes are being made. And
educated guesses.
Well, that's where what happens most often. And that's the thing. What happens most often is Kenneth Walker does not pick up a receiving role. It's not that it can't happen. A more extreme example, to put it in stark contrast where I lose and still keep doing the same thing, is Josh Allen shouldn't have succeeded. He's now probably the most startlingly good quarterback. It's probably one of the best quarterbacks in fantasy we've ever seen. And it's not going to stop. But it shouldn't have happened based on what usually happens once you put up that level of accuracy in your college, then the first year. It doesn't mean I just stop believing that's true. It just, it sucks. Sometimes Josh Allen comes along. Sometimes Melvin Gordon comes along. The reason
the guy who coached Josh Allen into being good is coaching the Giants, and it's Daniel Jones time, baby.
You also don't make silly narratives like that to try and explain it away so you can miss in more and interesting and new ways. You just accept. Sometimes it's going to be wrong. We're not. It's the humbleness of not saying you know what the future is, just saying you know what happens more often. And to be fair, you're not humble if you like Kenneth Walker. I'm not saying that. I'm saying just accept that there's a problem there, which means there's a reason for the value drop off. So don't give 3 firsts for him. It's like that simple. It shouldn't happen most often, but it easily could because it does happen sometimes. Mr. Scampers, is the same strategy later at the 1.08 in rookie drafts?
If this was back to when we were talking about taking your guy or trading for the 23 first, or it's all. I would have
the same answer. Yeah,
it's all the same.
And again, in the same way, we'd rather trade out or trade for other young players, but take your guy if you can't get a really good trade. Yeah, definitely. Especially this draft. Take your ranked guy too. Jared Dean, I'm trying to decide if I can't trade CEH plus 24 first for Swift. I don't think that gets it done.
I mean, if you can, that's awesome. If I'm the Swift manager, I'm not doing that. No. That's not to say that all of them won't.
I wouldn't do that. That's not what I mean when I sell Swift. I say sell Swift because I think he can get roughly double to triple this. Yeah,
he's a top 3 running back in Dynasty right now.
If you can send CEH and a 24 first for Swift, you should absolutely go do it.
Yeah,
because I think that's the wording of the question.
12-team Superflex. Akers or Elijah Moore on a 23-second. Elijah Moore, please.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Moore and Akers are that different value-wise right now. In general, Akers is probably pretty close. No, never mind, I'm wrong. But still, I would rather have Moore in the second.
Even if I'd happily give up a second to do that switch. But you're right. That's probably a harder trade to get. If it's on the block, I'd take it. If this is on the, if they've offered it, take it. Ethan, Swift caught a lot because it was just him and Hawkinson. Now Amon-Ra showed up and Williams was drafted first round.
Swift was passes on.
Again, it makes logical, consistent sense unless you go back to the beginning and trace how things typically work, and then this isn't a description of what happened from my perspective. I don't think that's what happened.
He also
Swift was a heavily pass-catching running back. When did the NFL, the NFL team that drafted him intended to throw him the ball a lot? That's why they drafted him. Like, this is just literally not what I see has happened.
Look, they got DeAndre Swift and finally let Theo Riddick retire.
I mean, went to the Raiders first, but yes.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Did he really?
He did. He did.
This was the vacated targets argument I was fighting last year. I was trying to remember, like the Hawkinson would be like the best tight end in the world because who else were they going to throw to? Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah, turns out he's pretty good. What about that?
And Swift had the fourth most targets out of all of the running backs in the NFL last year and played 4 fewer games than the other running backs.
Impressive.
He's a good pass catcher.
Yes.
They don't want him to run between the tackles because he's not great at that. They don't use
it's the biggest dynasty mistake of very smart players. It's spending all this time trying to figure out who can earn opportunity in certain roles, especially when it's running back targets and running. And then when you find out, trying to back asswards into how it's actually someone else because you didn't see it coming. I got a lot better, and I mean recently, once I stopped trying to figure out how it was going to shift and just accepted that now I know what just happened is what happened. Not that I'm going to see the exact same thing, but what the truth is that Amon-Ra St. Brown was a great target for them last year, not trying to jimmy it so he only got targets because that's just what happened.
Well,
his target share was his target share.
When he said Amon-Ra showed out and Swift didn't catch passes, well, Swift didn't play when Amon-Ra St. Brown showed out. Like, he was injured for that stretch. Like, he got hurt in week, whatever it is, 11.
Yep.
So
I really think we try to explain, and if you backtrace your thought process, it starts with why am I wrong? And so you go looking for why you're wrong. But that's a really weird place to start. It's like trying to explain what happened. This is a logical sentence, but I think the root of it is why did I not get it right? And that's just, you weren't right. I wasn't right on it. Like hardly anyone was. I hoped Amon-Ra was good, but I definitely didn't see that coming in his rookie year, that low drafted. That's unusual. So like, it's okay to just be wrong, Ethan. Like, smart player, and I think a lot of people do this. Or I could just be wrong. I do that a lot as well. Mr. Scampers, Slytherin. Am I
sheltering? Close.
Yeah, that's more sheltering, right? I can't read words.
That is literally what the word is. Yes.
Why did we put me in charge of reading? Anyone know? Trading away. Apparently, trading away 23-second to get Melvin Gordon or Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I don't mind that if your team is good, but
it's a win now.
Don't do it now.
Yeah,
I mean, that's never going to go away. Don't do it now. Things can happen.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
That's fair. That's fair. I like that, Russ.
Samuel, 12-team Dynasty Superflex, half-point PPR. Dobbins a third in 2023, or Dylan and a second in 2023.
Dobbins.
That value's just off, right?
I mean, I think whatever you think of the production will be this season, Dobbins right now is worth more than that one round jump than Dylan is.
That's what I was trying to say, but with worse words. Yeah, I think it's Dobbins. Paul, I have JJ and Jefferson. Should I trade a bunch of picks for Chase so I have 3 studs?
Yes.
I mean, that sounds
so much fun. Go do it.
And also, as long as they're healthy, you'd be kicking ass, honestly. Yeah. Yeah, why not? Maybe run the trades bias. I don't want you coming back next year and like, you said trade 5.
It's not a good idea, but it sounds like fun.
You know, but yeah, I like the idea. Hunt over Gordon.
I think I'd take Gordon over Hunt.
I think that's close. I think that's about right. But I don't mind either way. ARSB. You'd think that'd make it simpler for me, but I think that'd make it more difficult if I started saying his name that way.
Just say ARSB.
I don't trust my
You just
list.
call him The sun god. I want to hear you do that.
You got to do the hands.
The sun god.
Well, for one small donation to OnlyFans, Nicole Murphy. Hi, everyone. Big fans. Well, I appreciate that, Nicole. Thank you. 10 teams Dynasty startup. I took Cook, CD, T. Higgins, and J.K. Dobbins. Whew.
Yeah.
I like that.
Hat tip, my friend. Yeah, I like that a lot. I asked Russ this: is Dobbins starting out on the pup this year? Someone mentioned they didn't want him because
he still hasn't played yet, so there is a potential that he can. I haven't heard
start the preseason on the pup, and I don't care.
Right.
I'll be worried a little bit if he starts the season on it.
Well, they said something interesting, which made me think they were a redraft player. It was another Scott Fishbowl chat, sorry. But they were like, so I don't like him this year, but in Dynasty, he's fine. And I was like, no, that's backwards. If you don't like him this year in Dynasty, you don't like him until after that value drops, at least.
Well, and that's running backs or
yeah.
So
if you don't like him this year, you don't like him.
the pup concern, like if he starts training camp on the pup, that's fine.
Yeah.
He can't end training camp on the pup because if he does, then he's out till week 6. So it's
preseason pup is literally pointless. You can literally take them off whenever you want.
Yeah.
But
would this change
once it hits the season, it's 6 weeks.
Yeah.
If he's missing the first 6 weeks, would that drastically change your value of him, though? That's kind of what I was saying. Like, obviously, you're going to lose 6 weeks of production, but do you still think he's J.K. Dobbins when he comes back?
But you're also pushing back yet again, and we're getting closer to better running backs coming in, and it's all part of the value. Do I like him less as a player? No. Do I like him a little less as a dynasty asset? Unfortunately, yeah. We're never going to get to this in time, but Weaves right now just said the pup he believes has been shortened to 4 weeks.
Oh, is it?
I don't know. That's just what we've said. If that's right, then I mean that's a little better, like 2 weeks better, clearly, but I don't know.
That whole class seems to have failed to take over the running back value of the league because of injury. You know, from Akers to Dobbins now to that whole era just seems to have been taken out.
Joe says Weaves is correct. So yes,
small niggling injury.
Weaves, Joe, I trust.
That's fair. VJ525 total rebuild. Sounds like a move.
That's a lot of fun picks.
103, 105 to 107, 110.
That is not Eli Manning, by the way. Just going to point it out there. In case you thought it was, Peter.
Okay. Appreciate that.
Not Eli Manning.
That's a good safety vet. That you learning how low my incompetence goes and getting ahead of it. Good call. Not Elijah Mitchell either. Got it. Bateman, Gabe Davis, selling. Top wide receiver.
No. You're rebuilding. Be patient. You can't care who you're starting. If you're going to trade, I'm going to say, damn it, I thought he was going to start talking again. It's all about value for you right now. You don't want to score points, assuming you have your first and 23. So no, don't trade for vets. Just keep getting your youth. If you want to trade for those guys like Peter was talking about, the sophomores that are coming up, or the players that still have that breakout coming, or still have the ability to gain value so you can flip them later if your league is active enough, yes. But don't sell your picks to score points when you don't want to score points.
I was going to say that second part there, where there is a way of building with vets. Like Landry probably costs a third right now, and he might be worth a second or more in season. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a way of doing it, but that's where your focus should be. Like Russ said, value flipping. That should be why you do it.
Do you think you could put either the 110 or the 107 with Gabe Davis and get a 23 first right now with the crescendo on Gabe Davis hype?
I would love it if I could.
I think Deontay Johnson is not out the range of outcomes in a trade.
Yeah.
You might have to add, but I think you can get Deontay.
Yeah, if you want to.
Do that.
I would do
that. He says smugly, only for it to bite him in the ass this time next year, but I'm going with smug.
I really want to turn that into a GIF. I will do that.
I will do. I like it. Jacoby Myers. Oh, we are for back. Okay. Thanks, Joe. Sheesh. Have the 104 6-point touchdowns passing, I'm assuming. Pick swap. The 107 for a 23 foot. Yes.
Wait, trade back 3 spots and get a 23. Yes, go do that. Yes.
Like, feels a little nasty. It feels like you're hurting them a little bit, but do it.
That's a yes, absolutely.
Mm.
And then try to trade back again for another one.
Yeah. Or just trade it outright. Nicole, you must not look at the DLF rankings. That's what she says. So
Did you purposely correct the letter order, or did you accidentally read DLF even though she put DFL?
What? You must not look at DFL rankings. What is DFL?
Probably a typo for DLF.
Yeah, in 2 messages, she's going to correct that, Peter. You'll be fine.
See, I said DLF.
No, and I was curious if you accidentally read DLF, even though it was.
No, I saw DLF. I did not see the typo. I just saw DLF. If that's what you're asking, yeah, that's why I am bad at spelling, bad at typos, and yet was not diagnosed with dyslexia when I got tested. I'm just dumb. Says. I like the fact that even when getting it kind of right, I get somehow second tier. Zach knows Pete's kind of right.
Yeah, kind of right.
Everything, gentlemen, and me. Oh, thank you, West Coast Chiefer. No, targets. Okay, I guess I'll deal with them. 12 teams who flex PPR traded Cousins for a 23 first. Did I undersell?
Nope.
Oh, I think that's good.
It's the best you're gonna get. How about that?
I would go with that. It's probably as good as you're getting, but
again, quarterback room is Herbert, Lance, Goff. You got a 23 first for Cousins. I would feel good about that.
Yeah. I didn't say feel bad. And yes, they do. I don't know what I was saying that was so incredibly bad you had to remind me of that. I apologize. Joel, have either of you 3 come to realize ETM will finish as running back 1 yet? No, I feel we're just going to take our win and leave. Like early this offseason, we said trade for ETN because his value is going to be what it is now. And even that was profit. So I don't think we're going to make any more bets on ETN. We're good. We could only give the house back its money at this point. But I think he's going to be good, honestly. Top 12 running back definitely isn't outside the range of outcomes. As long as Jacksonville can recover from whatever last year was.
It would be highly improbable for it to get worse in Jacksonville.
I don't know. It feels like that kind of terrible ass party you could have a hangover. But yeah. I mean, yeah. Lawrence and ETN definitely should do a lot better this year.
And at least we're seeing videos of ETN running, so I'm happy.
Little John, nice. Would you trade JT for Najee and Waddle? Ooh,
yep.
I would. Yes,
right now.
Yeah.
I would do it right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Just took all the fun out of that for me. West Coast Chief traded. What is his name? Christian Watson, right?
Yep.
To Packers homer for the 23 first.
Beautiful.
Absolute win, and I like this little. Know your league mates. That's absolutely it. And we just did a whole podcast on that.
It's a Leo reference.
That is.
Hopefully he doesn't feel too sore about it this time next year. Managing a relationship is difficult, but that's definitely a win. Patriots put their second rounder Tinder on Myers, so that's how they value right now. That's fair. That's a little bit like money to me, though. I mean, the performance is going to matter more. But Myers has been good. It should probably be Myers.
He's still the one you want on the Patriots, regardless of
And it's still Hunter Henry, but yeah. Imagine if Myers was drafted in the second of 22. Yeah. I don't think you're going to find any of us don't like Myers, especially at his value. It's fine. I know it's difficult and not as powerful, but still
it's definitely something. It's proof of interest. Yeah.
He had 21% target share. I mean, the fact no one's interested is wild. Or people.
That was Belichick going, there's a new TV contract. The price of contracts are going up. If somebody wants to pay him, I'll get a second round pick. But yes, it's also Myers is their best wide receiver.
Mm-hmm. Gavin Grant, PPR 1 quarterback, start 9. CMC and Brevin Jordan, right?
Yeah, Brevin Jordan. Take that side easy.
23 fourth or Damian Harris, A-Rob, and a 23 first. I mean,
a first or CMC.
CMC but I think for a first, yeah.
But you get you get a running
Rob in a second. I'll get rid of CMC for that.
You get a running back too. You get a potential decent wide receiver and a 23 first. I'm gonna
started out as a joke, but I'm like, oh, but there's that 24 seconds, not bad. Oh, I love A-Rob. just let me keep Brevin Jordan, please.
Just gonna keep Christian McCaffrey. Sorry. I've been lying to myself because I missed on Amon-Ra St. Brown. I wasn't high enough on him, to be clear. I'm not like, I got him right and you all can't deal with it. I didn't get enough of him in rookie drafts. I didn't. Again, I thought I had time. He was lower drafted enough. I thought he'd have just a decent season. Yeah. And then I could like him. Instead, he broke out. Like, that was phenomenal. That was very rare. Like, I don't think we should expect to hit those, to be honest. Paul Cicero, how many targets will there be in Las Vegas for each of Adams, Waller, and Renfro? I can tell you what, I got that passing volume at right now. Or you're asking specifically about, their targets. I don't know.
Well, I mean, the bigger question is, who else is there to catch a ball? The backfield to catch probably 20% at most combined, right? So I feel like funneling through those three, I don't see why the three of them can't get around, if not decently, some of them decently over the 100 target mark.
All right, Paul, 158 for Adams, 127 for Waller, and 121 for Renfro. There you go. That's it. Mark it down.
I was going to stick for a little closer to 100 for Renfro, but I love that.
Well, that's and that's in the realm of the McDaniels offense with Welker, Gronkowski, and another.
I figured you'd have a very insightful answer given the history.
Yeah. But it's not like, obviously don't take that to the bank. But I think that there's room enough there for all three of them to have over 100 targets. So with Adams leading, I think probably Waller and Renfro are close. With Waller probably just edging him out.
Yeah, I figured it would probably be like Waller in that 120 something, and then Renfro at like 108.
Yeah,
which would be a little sad for Renfro, but
yeah, I got Waller at 120. I've got Devontae Adams way high at the moment, close to 170. Damn, that's high.
That's not that. I mean, like Welker saw 100.
I mean, no, he can definitely do it. I've got Renfro right at 100, and this is well within the realms of what they have been doing recently. Like they wouldn't have to pass exponentially more. So yeah, and there's more than enough passing volume. That team is a passing team. I mean, despite Josh Jacobs.
I want you to know that when they hit exactly what I said, I'm going to bring this back as a clip for you, Peter, next year.
I appreciate it. We need clips, man. PPR 1QB start 9. I'm going to put them on TikTok if you do that. Yeah, we did this one. Cooper Kupp, Deontay Johnson, Elijah Moore, a good enough wide receiver core to build around.
Yes.
I would say you're actively competing with that wide receiver.
Absolutely.
Core.
You got two dudes that will finish top 12, most likely.
I think that wide receiver core is done built. Yeah, I like it.
Especially with start 2.
Mm-hmm. I just expected
completely glancing over how awesome my daughter is. That's fine.
No, I didn't know if those were comments to read. Yeah, everyone loves Russ's daughter, and I was literally about to comment on it before you spoke over me. Russ's daughter stole the show, obviously and clearly. That's what should happen. Nicholas J, what's your view on tanking your pick for the 23 class?
Do it.
When the only round of the league is you can start playing on a buy. If you're following. If it's within the rules, you're allowed to do it. Would I do it? No, I don't care. I want to win every week, even when I'm tanking. I'm kind of that way.
If a league says I can tank and I want to tank, I'm going to tank. And this is a year to tank.
Tank. The next message from Nicholas is, I'm the only rebuilder in my league. hell yeah, go get it. Like go get the early 23.
No, absolutely. And especially even if there isn't, like in the trade addicts leagues, I purposely used very vague wording because I don't care about tanking, but I know it bothers a lot of people. I put the phrase, you have to set a reasonable lineup. I never said you can't put DeAndre Swift on your taxi squad, which someone did. And honestly, no one even called him out on it.
And I guess, Nicholas, it depends on your league too. Because so for me personally, I will set the best roster I have, but I'm in leagues where I have a 2-year taxi squad, and I will leave players on that 2-year taxi squad and set the best lineup I have that is not a good lineup.
If it's in the rules or not in the rules, you're allowed to do it. That's getting a lot of that talk with the clock in Scott Fishbowl, and I'm like, I mean, I don't like it, but the clock is yours to do with what you want. If you want to sit on it for the entire length of time, that's what you should be allowed to do.
I just laughed at people like get so like the build up to the Scott Fishbowl or any draft where people are like, oh, I can't wait to do this, I can't wait to do this, I can't wait to do this, and then they're like, hurry up, and then you're done, and then they complain that they don't have a draft to do, and it's like,
but like you're excited and you just want it to happen.
PPR 10 team 1 QB Godwin and 210 for Swift. Swift
value-wise says Swift. Yeah. Yep.
Which is sad because I would like to get Godwin, but they're
not like this. Instant analysis. You guys don't need to worry about being behind in the show. You had like 20 questions in the chat before your show started. Yeah, we're still kind of slow, but I appreciate you letting us off.
We're always behind.
You've heard me talk. I'm behind in so many different ways. We got a new banner, by the way. I don't know if anyone's ever going to notice that thing. So
tank.
Oh, it was fun.
tank.
Apparently, it's not fun. Nicole, with having Lamb, Dobbins, Cook, and Higgins, do I go tight end or QB with my next time?
Don't set your lineup. Just take the best players there. Figure out the lineup later. Don't even worry about it.
Don't draft to start.
No. Good advice, especially in it's Dynasty. You're drafting good players.
Never
so
worry about starting lineup.
Yep.
But
it's not a quarterback.
QB works. Late round tight end works. There's no need to draft in the order that you need starters.
Yeah.
DB Cooper. He's talking to Nicole, so I can move on.
Watson.
Yeah,
that's what someone called him, and I was like, "Oh, I like that." I think I'm just going to start reading it that way. To me, thank you, Randy. Appreciate that. Gently caress that like button, please. No, that feels like that's not Joe. It's Joe. It's good. Now. It's good. That's Joe saying it. She said it in a wholesome, positive manner. I like that. She's just saying, be kind to the like button as you press it.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, is live from Firmouth. I don't know. It feels like I like him, and every time I say it, everyone's like, "No, the hype's too crazy." I'm like, "Who else says it?" I know that. Doesn't seem to be overhyped. He's in the top 12 in Dynasty, which is basically saying nothing.
Well, I don't think Vermouth is that bad of a trade, regardless. But
no, like he's in the 9th round in Scott Fishbowl, which is a redraft upside tournament. Like that's not.
But like dynasty wise, if you're putting him like the one person below that top tier, yeah, you're too high on him. But if he's anywhere below that, then that's where he belongs. He's in that next tier. I just don't think he's the top of it.
Yeah, I think he's a really strong prospect for this year, and I think his ADP, from what I've seen, is really reasonable for the upside and the median outcome. I like him, but maybe not. I don't listen to nearly enough podcasts. I don't hear about the hype that everyone's hearing about sometimes. You ever get that feeling? You ever get that feeling that you're not in the loop because people start telling you things and you're like, I didn't hear that.
Well, I'm not reading that.
Mac Jones went past me in the Scott Fishbowl, and I was like, damn, I was hoping to draft him, and someone told me, no, the hype on his gone way too crazy. I'm like, I haven't heard his name.
Well,
anyway.
And it's the Scott Fishbowl. Well, it's the Scott Fishbowl bump because he finished last year as QB 18 in the Scott Fishbowl, even though
17 or 18,
Yeah, and so that's what it is. It's just the way the Scott Fishbowl is scored, especially this year where sacks don't count, and if you're above 66% completion percentage, then you're gaining points. So it makes Mac Jones kind of a real nice QB2.
Was he that different in as a
yeah, it was like 24, 25.
In straight regular scoring, he was around like the 25, 26 mark.
Yeah. Yeah, that was Peter letting Matthew Berry, like the small independent solo podcasters, Matthew Berry, who's now an independent solo podcaster because he got done at ESPN.
We got that beautiful DLF logo holding us up right now. He doesn't got that.
It's true. Although he owns that. Bet spurts.
I don't get paid for this, you know. I just sit here and take this abuse 3 hours a week.
Actually, don't you?
You look good though.
Really? How much money you sent me? Huh. Come on, podcast director. How much money have I made from the Dynasty Grind? I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea. Gavin Grant. I don't even know.
Gavin with an I says Gavin with a Y is lame.
You know what? I think the Y is classy. I think the I is distinguished. There you go, Gavin.
They're spoken like a true parent.
Jam, 12-team keeper league, PPR. Start 3 wide receivers. DJ Moore and Mike. DJ Moore. Like,
more. Don't make me sad, but the answer's more.
Like, chill on the Mike Williams stuff. Best of all, cool. But
you're still going to need 2 more wide receivers, though, to start 3. Just throwing that out there. Hashtag math.
I'm really glad we've got the mathematician. 23 first plus. What wide receiver would you trade for DK? Deontay Johnson. There you go. He's my go-to right now. Like an easy I would take.
Rashad Bateman. How far off is 23 first for DK Metcalf for you, Zach?
Oh, to get DK Metcalf. Okay. Yeah, Bateman's a good one. Gabe Davis. Easily send that.
Yes, I would do that.
I'd send Mike Williams. Easily do that.
But seriously, like Zach, how far off is straight up random 23 first for DK Metcalf for you?
Pretty close.
That's. I was wondering where Zach was on that.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
I like pretty close. It wouldn't have to be a great receiver. It would have to be somebody with what the kids are calling upside.
With a pulse. Someone with a pulse.
Yeah.
That's who I feel like we name. So that's cool. How early are you taking Pitts and Superflex 12-team starter? Guys?
Is it a tight end premium? Because that actually does matter to Pitts. He's one of the few guys that it matters to.
He didn't say. I'm trying to look for my ranks, but I've had so much open lately. I don't think I'm going to be able to find him. 4th round would be a steal. I think he goes in the 1st round of most dynasty startups right now. 2nd latest.
Yeah.
I still think that's wild.
Yeah.
I don't remember a time when Gronk went in the 1st round or Kelsey went in the 1st round, and now Kyle Pitts is going in the 1st round, and you're hoping you're hoping that he's going to be those guys. Even Graham didn't go.
Kelsey made his way into the okay.
They did make their way up there eventually.
Not 1st round.
Yeah,
you might not make the 1st round, but they did work their way up there. But they were already like the 2.
Pitts is at 111 right now in DLF.
My favorite thing to point out about that is like Travis Kelce is a guy now. Granted, he's going to be the guy this year too. He's had 2 years of scoring like Gronk and Graham relative to the field. He's only 2 of his years have been that much of a difference maker over when you're looking at flex ranks. Like he's just 2 of them. Like Gronk and Graham were just a different era, just a different thing. I don't think. Yeah, I like Pitt's rookie value. If you put him as a rookie, that was probably definitely the best pick, despite Jamar Chase being, Jamar Chase. Because people will value him like that.
Did a whole episode on that.
Yeah, I know. I was all draft Jamar Chase, as stupid as I am.
I mean, I wouldn't mind.
I'm not buying it. But he did. He's rookie. He got to 1,000. He did real well. And Grant G, you rock, guys. He's talking to you two, so say thank you. 12-team, 1 QB, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 2 flex, 1 PPR. That seems like my style of vanilla league, non-super flex. Yeah, I get it. Give 223 first, get Lamb and a third. I think, yeah. I think that's good. I think that's right on the button. Yeah, I'd like that. He's also saying he's got Jay Jefferson, Chase, Waddle. He's stacked at wide receiver.
That
young
is
wide
beautiful.
receiver.
I love that, but it also has nothing to do with the value of the trade. It's just, yeah, that's what you do for Lamb. That's cool.
I think
I'm
2 first
super
is
jealous of that
good
team.
for Lamb. Yeah. Yeah, right. Team shiny.
Yeah, but I'm
You don't
curious
like
what.
it?
Well, no, I like it, but I'm curious what Grant has at running back,
It's not
because
important anymore.
it is, because you can only start 5 of those receivers, and if you trade away your 23 first and you don't have running backs, you still are starting 5 receivers and hoping. Where right now he's got 5 receivers that you can start, and if you end up with 2 top 12 running
If you could
backs,
switch,
like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, to me, I'd
if you
rather
could switch
give up
one of
like,
those first for Bateman, for example.
yeah, I'd rather give up more Bateman in one of those first and get Lamb than I would give up 2 of those first, just with the
Okay,
flexibility
when
of
you
the
put it like that,
picks.
that's a very fair statement.
That's a very smart way of doing the same value in the trade as well. Yeah, because of your roster restrictions. Higgins or Waddle?
I'm going to give my advice again. You ready? You need to go to your local ice cream store. You need to go buy a banana split. I got to have pineapple, chocolate, and then some sort of like marshmallow. The cherry. When you get your change back, you flip that coin, and then take whichever one that is. Like, to me, they're splitting hairs on that.
Okay. I don't mind having either. I'm not sending Higgins away for Waddle. I'm not sending Waddle away for Higgins. But if you're asked to choose, I'll take the Waddle side.
But I got an ice cream.
Value-wise,
140
Waddle
targets
has
as a
a
rookie.
higher ceiling.
You did.
That doesn't mean I want him on my team more than Higgins, but I'll just put that statement out there.
I like the
So
ice cream. I hate banana
Waddle.
splits, to be fair, but
Peter, you can just get a sundae. That's fine.
That's fair. Just an ice cream comment. At least you get an ice cream, like I said. VJ525. How many 22 to 25 firsts is JT worth? 3. A player really shouldn't be worth more than 3, and he's in the top tier of value.
Yep.
That's my rough guide.
Mahomes and Allen in Superflex, I think, eclipse 3. Like CMC in his heyday eclipsed 3 also. Like, it's a rare thing too. But
Barkley did. I remember seeing Barkley.
I saw Barkley.
Yeah, I remember seeing Barkley that first year going for a lot more than that.
Yep.
But that's the thing, that it's not that players won't go over it. It's like that's as much as I think you should pay or expect most times, for sure. But that's a good point. I feel like I should go back to that one. One second. I've got a lag. And with having Lamb, Dobbins, Cook, and Higgins, do I go tight end or quarterback my next time around?
We did this one already. We said pick the best player.
Sorry, this isn't part of the stick. I'm honestly having struggly times right now. I feel like
how many Google Sheets do you have open right now?
Close some tabs, Peter.
Did we do this one?
No.
I refuse to comment on the basis that it may make me look bad. Not this one. Damian Harris price check. That's him. Did we skip any?
Yeah, I think we did, but that's, I mean.
Man down.
Russ. Jeez. Still my beating heart. Paul Bruin, rookie 10-team Superflex, 2.01, Cook, Pickett, Moore. Oh, who do you choose?
Superflex at that point.
It would
Let's look
be
up
Dog.
again.
Probably Pickett. It's
Hey, Dog.
Pickett, Moore, and not Cook
Pickett.
for me. Yeah.
Is it an ice cream moment or?
No, I think it's Pickett.
Zach, is it an ice cream moment?
No, I think it's Pickett.
Pickett.
Then
I
Moore.
think I used
Then
to go Pickett. But...
Yep.
Bob Gilchrist, I have seen their guys before. Now, this isn't me misreading. He wrote there. After all the guff he gives out, that word is THERE. Throw that one out there, Bob. Not so smart now. He's actually just still exactly as smart because spelling mistakes don't change your intelligence. Weird, huh? Gramley 1314, 12-team PPR competing for my Tony for Thielen and Darrell Henderson. That's not enough. I love Thielen. It's actually probably exactly right, but Tony's got dynasty upside value.
Yeah, but whatever. I mean, I don't. I think if I did that, I wouldn't feel bad about it. It is what it is.
It's probably exactly on the line, but the upside there is surely Tony.
I would say I'd rather have Tony, and that's for me to say that
Yeah.
is something.
That's a lot, yeah. Like Thielen, I love the bits. The upside here is Tony's potential dynasty value, and so I think I go that way. But I probably wouldn't talk to myself for a while if I did it. Just it's Tony. No one laughed, so I'm moving on. P. Colligator, hey, 23 first and second, or 224 first. I mean, 23 picks, please.
Yeah,
probably. He's asking for the value. Like, is one first with a second and 20? And yeah, I think that's the standard exchange, let alone 23 exchange.
Yeah,
like
that's
a round up
pretty
the
normal.
following year. Yeah. And not a bad way to, if in your league, they'll do that. The value's gone from 23 picks in your league. I hate the idea. 1 QB, 4-point passing. Stick with Fields or pivot to Lance or Tua easily.
It makes me sad because I really do.
It doesn't matter because it's 1 QB.
Tua has done well and his team got better, and Lance's upside is just so much higher than.
I would say in 1 QB, pivot to Lance.
Yeah, because the upside's there.
Of the two.
Because,
but I would rank it Lance to Fields, and I'd move up the chain as far as I could. Damian Harris price check. I mean, a second in Dynasty is a second round pick, right? I'm not. Yep. Is that too much? Feels
no.
Like
Second's about what it is.
About what it is, though. Okay. Good evening, above grief.
We're behind, aren't we?
That's the way that sentence should have gone.
Like 50 minutes.
Once more insight on why Isaiah Spiller is going behind guys like James Cook, Tyler Edgier. James Cook ran in the third round, and he's a pretty decent. He's a very good pass catcher, and he's going to get work early. Isaiah Spiller has more upside, but he ran slowly at the combine, got drafted later, and went to a team that's already got Austin Eckler. That's literally the reason why. I love Spiller's value for that reason, but I think he is justifiably below James
right
Cook
now for next year.
Yeah.
Is he below Tyler Algier, though? That's ridiculous. Tyler Algier should be below all these guys.
Either way. Like, honestly, I don't know if I'd be surprised if I saw it in a rookie draft. I don't know for real.
Okay. I would like to offer a trade with Tyler Algier in that case. Is it okay to drop Antonio Brown and Gronk now? Oh yeah, it's always okay to drop anyone.
Brown, yes,
easy
Gronk,
answer, but yeah, it is.
Hey, it took me like 4 years to drop Andrew Luck. I'm
how many
times
Gronk
until the season starts.
I like the alliteration.
That's a fair point, but at least it's because of some emotional trauma I had. Zach Reed rule and the NFL dress for past performances, not player possibilities.
I want to hear Peter say that like 5 times fast. That would be fantastic.
Again, one small / large donation to my OnlyFans, and we make that happen. Joanna, again. How you doing? Is that good, Zach? I think we said it. Yeah, I would say that was the best iteration of it. Yeah. Bogner, I'm guilty of over-investing in Hawkinson this offseason. I just adding him at a discount. I think his value is good.
He's not going to be bad.
Yeah, sure. Makes sense. Not bad. No. Hell no. Put Peter in charge of reading because English is literally his first language.
Not true.
Thanks for that. We don't have a I think
Peter went and is like concatenating all of his spreadsheets right now. That's what's going on.
Come on, you can't hit F9 while you're recording, Peter.
Okay, I will close. I will close my spreadsheet. Fine.
How many 22 to 25 firsts are Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase worth combined?
All of them.
Separately, I'd say 3 each, but you got to put at least one more in to buy both of them. So I'm going to say 7 minimum.
Ooh.
I feel that.
I think that's fair. Yeah, that's literally the exchange rate I would use. And I wouldn't do it.
I would not do that.
Russ, are you having whiskey tonight?
I try usually to not drink while podcasting. The only times I would drink is like open bar or drinking and talking fantasy football if they remind me that I'm supposed to be drinking because the name isn't enough for me to remember.
I'm mad. I'm mad, Russ, because you posted the question to ask questions. And in my drafts, I tried to send this like 3 times. And I asked a question.
Mm-hmm.
And then I asked Dustin, how many times pre-show, during show, post-show does he look at Jake and want to ask him, why so serious? With a gif of Jake dressed as the Joker. And it wouldn't go through. And I'm mad. Yeah. Sorry. That's inside radio. Sorry.
We actually just ignored Jake's existence because we just didn't want we didn't want Dusty Dog to feel like he's the second chair to anybody.
Except for the Podathon chair.
Sal said that I was his Steve, so I got up and walked away, and I'm like, no, now I'm your Steve. That was one of the funniest things I've ever done in my life.
Superflex startup. I have the 112 slot, so picking back to back. Russell Wilson, Lamb, Pitts, Swift, etc. available. Which 2 would you pick?
I am not happy with any of those. I mean, I would take Pitts because I don't really think the rest of them fit there. Like, who could that top 11 have been?
I'm not allowed to open things up, so.
Yeah, I wish I had.
On the turn, I think there are 2 better wide receivers typically available. Lamb, this.
Oh yeah, give me Waddle over
Waddle
Swift
should be
or
there.
even Russell Wilson at this point.
Jefferson's not going to be there, but
okay. So Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, Kyler, Lamar, Burrow, Jefferson, Chase, JT. That's 9 easy.
Dak,
10.
Yeah, and then you're into then you're where we are. Maybe Najee.
Did you say Herbert?
Yeah,
did you say
maybe
Herbert?
Najee or Javonte.
Yeah.
Did you say Justin Herbert went in those first?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'm assuming he would have. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think he would have. Is the thing. Yeah.
Like, I would do this turn at Pitts and either
Waddle,
Javonte or Najee, whoever hasn't been taken, or one of the Waddle or T. Higgins, and I'd be fine about it. I don't think I'd take Russell Wilson here at this point.
But if forced to pick from this list, I think it's the first 2. It's Wilson and Lamb.
I think it's Pitts and Wilson.
And Pitts is a value thing, though.
Yes, 1,000% it's a value thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fair. I would trade back.
Yes. If you can trade, yeah, go for it.
Any of you knuckleheads where the team taxi squad came from? I mean,
I have heard this before.
Question.
Yeah.
I don't think I know. No.
He tells the story if you keep going.
Is it something to do with they weren't active and they had to take a taxi? No. Okay.
No, but they started a
they-
taxi company. They started working for the taxi company near the
That's
Paul Brown.
that's
Back in
good.
the day,
Near
he
the
would get
stadium.
players just cut
Yeah.
jobs at a local taxi company in Cleveland just in case someone got hurt.
Yeah.
Nice. I wonder if any of them survived. 323 firsts, 224 firsts. We're thinking Higgins as vet relatively.
Oh, because he was saying trade. They were saying trade for a vet, and we said no, don't do that. Yeah, okay, absolutely, yeah, you could trade for T. Higgins if you want.
Yeah.
Do like if you can get him for like a 23 plus a little bit, like try and see how little you can get away with. I don't think I'd give up 223 first for T. Higgins at this point.
No.
So if you can get like a 23 first and second for Higgins, cool. I might do a 23 first and 24 first just because it's me and T. Higgins. But
I would hold his value at
a
2
lot.
firsts, but it doesn't have to be 2 firsts, if you know what I mean. Like you want 1 first and something and a second.
Yeah, that's why I said
something.
like a first and a
That's what I'm trying
second
to
would
do.
be great. And that's just value wise, not meaning like specifically picks.
Yeah. Nolan Gabe for 23.
We told him to trade Gabe plus a little for a 23 first.
Right. Yeah. That's fair. I think we said plus a whole first round pick, didn't we? All 23 spoken for. I do think we're getting to that point, and it's going to be some leagues yes, some leagues no, where I think some leagues are going to figure out at some point that they have priced themselves out of the market for a little while because everyone who wants to spend for those picks has done it, and everyone willing to trade them has done it, and then there's no one to trade them to.
So then
the
start
rookie
looking.
Season gets it.
Start looking at your team for players who are worth seconds and trade them for two of them. Trade them for a 23 second and a 24 first, and start doing that.
Yeah. It doesn't mean it starts. I do think it's interesting that I do think a lot of leagues are going to run into this whole pattern where, those who will and those who won't are already established.
Yep.
Until the rookie season gets here, and then people are going to be like, I want that guy.
Yep.
And I will be among them, to be clear. I'm not strong-willed. Joe, Randy, good question. It's so weird. Taxi because they have to move to a new location? No. That's probably what I would have guessed, to be honest. FF Lefty, if I was that smart. I call this the Follow Your Dreams Superflex startup. Trevor Lawrence, Mac, Goff, Brees, Walker, Deontay, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Elijah Moore, Claypool, and others. Sorry,
you just ruined Peter's dream.
It's involuntary sometimes. 623 first. Yeah, I think that's a real solid building from year one team. I hate doing that stuff though. Taxi Squad was from.
We just
really
read
ahead.
Well, yeah,
this is really interesting, Randy. I'm glad
this will catch us up real good.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm just click. But no, it's really interesting, Randy. Thanks for that. Brendan, thoughts on buying Ridley? Calvin?
Yeah.
Right now, if rebuilding. I mean, buying sounds like you're going to give something of value, and I wouldn't do that.
If you were holding out hope for Michael Thomas, you should hold out more hope for Calvin Ridley.
I mean, like, I'll trade a second. If somebody's willing to give up Ridley for a second, they're frustrated. Like, I'll do that.
That's fair. I don't think I'd thought about it in Michael Thomas. But yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah. Everyone's a normal guy before they become a superstar. Not really anymore. They're trained from birth. Kind of actually, have you heard Travis May talk about the school funnel into the NFL?
No.
It's really like there are only so many high schools where the vast majority of NFL players actually come from anymore. So you really have to go to those high schools to get into the NFL anymore. So it's all funneled down to these really small. So kind of you're not going to get regular people. You're going to get people that have literally, well, apart from occasional Adam Thielen, you're going to get like players that have literally been playing since they were 3. They've gone through the right schools. They've always been the best athlete in every. That's mostly that's also probably what the NFL's risen its level so far, to be fair. But yeah, sorry, didn't mean to go off on a tangent there. But they tried out for the Browns, weren't good enough to make the team, then got them jobs at the so they weren't just random taxi.
Yeah, there were people that they wanted on the team but didn't make it, so they just kept them close by in case they needed them.
So they got them a job on the taxi squad for a little. Yeah,
I think that's what they should have done with Mayfield this year. Just had him work at a taxi company.
Just let him keep doing commercials. The man's got enough going on.
I mean, plenty of those have been fired. I mean, maybe that's his calling. I don't know.
The Gavin on Gavin violence. I like it. I'd like to buy a vowel.
Why have Gavin and violence when you can have Gavin on PA howdy violence? Just saying, I'm here for you guys. Send it my way. Let me probe this value. Zach, Claypool plus a 23 first for DK.
Yes, because then I could turn around and trade Claypool to somebody who actually thinks he's valuable, and it would be fantastic.
So you would trade DK for that? Interesting.
Yeah, I would take a first in Claypool and then figure I could trade Claypool.
He's trying. He's trying to see how little on top of a first it would take Zach to.
Renfro's higher than Claypool, so that doesn't count. Tony
the world.
I don't.
For Zach,
I don't think I would do Tony because I don't think that the market for Tony is very big.
Okay, there we go. Different with Cooks.
Brandon Cooks? Yeah, I take Cooks. I think Cooks and Metcalf score fairly similarly this year, and I get a 23 first.
Okay, so I'm going to say something. In all honesty, I'd be thrilled if DK put up Brandon Cooks points.
Yeah. I don't think.
Every time you think of it being too harsh on DK Metcalf, just be like, "Oh yeah, his quarterback is Drew Lock." Okay.
Yeah, I don't think the community has come to grips yet with like DK Metcalf and the offense that he is in, because he was like borderline wide receiver 1 with the most efficient quarterback in the NFL period in the red zone.
Now he's got the opposite.
Yeah, now he's got
the opposite.
Yeah.
As far as qualified NFL quarterbacks go, to be clear, like it could get worse.
It could
anyone
be
else. Yeah. Christian Kirk plus 23 for he would do that. If Juju has a decent to good season, are you holding or selling? It's a question for you guys. I mean, I don't think anyone has to ask me that.
I mean, if he has a good season, then Kansas City's probably going to re-sign him, and you're going to be really happy that he's tied to Patrick Mahomes.
And then you paid so little to get him, so yes.
Yep.
Would you be selling it if it happened, though? If that value jump comes along, would you be like, "Oh, I'm out"?
No, because I believe it. I don't think so either.
I believe it now is a thing, Mrs. Scampers. Like I'm all in. I go the way Juju goes at this point. Having said that, I'm having a real difficult time trading for him in my leagues. Like, no one's interested in the value he's meant to have, which I honestly think, yeah, that's where I'm at. I think most people rostering him will be there.
We're in the dreaming season, Peter. Everyone is like, wow, he could be really good. So
even be a boat.
You're going to have to pay for Juju being really good or potentially being really good.
Is the dreaming season a better name for this podcast? That sounds
the dreaming season.
That sounds like the title of something awesome. What are your thoughts on rostering just one startable quarterback? I want to compete this year, but I only have Lance. In a super flex, it's going to be rough. Unless it's Scott Fishbowl, at which point after the QB 12.
In a one quarterback league, absolutely.
Viable.
That's fine.
Maybe the top 24. But in a one quarterback league, yeah. Roll it.
And I know this, I don't mind doing that. I don't. I play a lot of my Superflex leagues like that. Russ, you can attest to that, where my quarterbacks are not very good. And occasionally I'll have to make moves to get one, like I traded Thielen and a 22 first to get Mac Jones in the Dynasty Awesome Sauce. So like, but I do roll like that, Joe, like, because I think you can, rather than roster bad quarterbacks, like I would rather flex a good position player than I would a bad quarterback most of the time.
It sounds so insulting to others, but in leagues that I find I am definitely meeting my match, or I think I'm meeting my match, put it that way. That sounds better than good leagues. And one of my main thoughts is I have to overbalance somewhere and underbalance somewhere else. Most Dynasty players think productive struggle, so you overbalance youth versus age. I tend to think in terms of positions because I don't think youth scores points that way. And so and that's one of the easiest ways to do it. If you look at my Superflex ranks, I value the premium quarterbacks real high. And then I value a lot of them a lot lower than you would think. And then I have a lot higher, like I go for those deep plays in the middle. Because obviously I want to build into those top tier quarterbacks if I can, but it's one of the ways, and it's true if it's tight end premium, I try to undervalue the position where there's a dearth of similar level of value and there's a wealth of value just because of the nature of the league, if you know what I mean. And Superflex and tight end premium both give you the ability to do that. And so often off balance like that. The goal is to have Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert, but especially when starting a league, I often find it's easier to try and give up the depth of that position to try and build a good squad and then hopefully build that position as I go forward.
It's time for Russ to go to bed.
All right. Thanks, Russ. Love you.
Talk to you fellas later.
What's Kittle's value? Late first, early second in a non-tight end premium, right?
A 2022 first.
Oh yeah, easily 22.
Like 102, 103, 104. Like I do that. A 23, yeah, I'm with you. Probably like a late first, early second. Players in that like wide receiver abyss of like McLaurin, Godwin, that area. I don't know.
Yeah,
something like that.
Gavin Grant wants to know if this is a competing team or how does it look as a competing team. I think it looks relatively strong.
Swift, Barkley, Jefferson, Higgins. Yes. Yep.
He traded CMC for a first and some extra depth. Again, I think you're weaker for it, but I mean, there's risk, right? So I get it. And your team's still strong, so I don't hate it. I never cared for Callaway, but someone just dropped him right now. I'd be open to having my mind changed. For a roster spot, I definitely think Callaway's interesting. Like, he's an undrafted free agent who had 600 yards last year. The best other option right now, especially considering the injury concerns from Michael Thomas, is Jarvis Landry, who's worth slightly more than a roster spot. So really, there's no bad reason to add him, if you know what I mean. He had a 17% target share, so there is room to grow into a breakout top 24 wide receiver. He's also got Jameis Winston as a starting quarterback, which sucks. But if you're going to make a play on that passing game, I think Callaway is easily adjusted for what his upside and his probably likely points outcome is in 2023, right? 22. Yeah, 22. It's the best I got. I sell it.
Mostly a shrug, Joe. I mean, mostly a shrug.
I like it. I traded a couple of thirds in most of my leagues just to get some exposure to it. I don't think it's crazy, but Zach says he's a shrug when you watch.
I mean, he's fine, but it's hard for me to see a path for Callaway to be productive for fantasy.
Matt, I'm targeting 2023 running backs. My best is Khalil Herbert. That sounds like a me roster. We're thinking of holding Cooper Kupp as a trade piece to try and secure a top 3 pick. When I know who has a top pick, yeah, I think that's a viable idea. See how the league runs, and then you get to see how it's going.
Especially with Cooper Kupp, because again, we talked about him earlier. Kupp should be a top wide receiver, like he's going to produce, and so you should be able to trade. The only issue with that, Matt, though, is trading Kupp to somebody who has a top 3 pick in next year's draft means that they're not very good. So Kupp doesn't necessarily hold the same value to them as he would for a competing team.
Yeah, especially in season, Cup is probably going to be viable for that top 3 pick or for a higher level pick than you could definitely get right now. So I like it. I knew who Callaway is. You're good, Joe. It's an undrafted free agent no one else cares about. I know who he is. Don't you worry. Who had 600 yards? Eric. And Najee Harris or Javonte Williams in 23. The value of that seems off. I would expect Javonte Williams to be higher value than Najee. By ADP, it's not. But just from general sentiment, I would assume whoever's rostering Harris and whoever's rostering Williams, the Williams owner is less likely to trade him. I prefer Najee. I don't think the difference between the two is a first, though. I'd want Najee, though. Where are you at? Would you add a first to get Najee instead of Javonte? I don't know. I do.
No, I'd rather have the first than Javonte, I think. But production-wise, I think Harris is the clear producer this year. But I think, again, Javonte Williams, you could end up with 2 running back ones next year. Like, Williams could conceivably be that guy. So that's...
It's another thing Scott Fishbowl's thrown at me. I have to come to terms with the fact there's no value in Harris. I thought everyone would hate his inefficiency last year, but he literally went 3rd overall in my draft this year.
Yeah.
Like, there's enough of us.
Again, values. Like, he had 74 receptions. Like he does everything that you want in a running back.
Yes, sir. The Rodfather. My new Dynasty Superflex tight end premium. You recommend 4 TD. Would you recommend 4 or 6 point touchdowns in a Superflex league? I mean, 4 is standard, and I typically lean standard if I get given a choice, but both are good. Disadvantages, advantages.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on if you want to bump the position players, so the non-quarterbacks, because if you want to bump the non-quarterbacks, have the quarterbacks to have 4 points per touchdown. If you want to bump, have the quarterbacks have that advantage, then give it to the quarterbacks. But it doesn't striate your quarterbacks. Like it doesn't
the flexibility of other players. Yeah. I would say I find 6 to be a little OP, and already when you go to super flex, sometimes I've missed that's part of the scoring, and done my regular super flex draft and had my ass kicked for a little while until I figured it out and tried to readjust, because it really does make the quarterbacks OP. Just know you're doing that, but if everyone knows they're doing that, and they're reading the rules, so they should. It was my mistake. Then you can have fun in either. I lean 4 just because I don't like unbalancing it that far. But it's fine. I mean, it's fun. Yes, that's excellent trade if you can pull it off. Okay, sorry. Saw Cook go for the 103 and Algier go for the 104.
That's wild. That is wild.
I need to sit with that. Like, Cook went 103. That enough? That's. I know Ray GQ loves him. I know there are serious people talking about how good he is. But that's
wild.
Breece Hall. Maybe you fit a wide receiver in then Cooks.
No, I mean, if Cook and Algier are going, if Cook and Algier are going 3 and 4, then it went Hall Walker.
What am I not remembering about Tyler Algier? Is he like a Damian Pierce? He's on a completely...
No, he's in Atlanta. I'm pretty sure.
There's more than enough, decent talent there, I thought, to not make him a clear Damian Pierce candidate. I mean, it's an ambiguous backfield, but man, no, that's crazy above grief. But maybe you got some scoring differences. I don't know, like points per having the 9 Tyler Algier. But that's wild to me from everything I've seen. I like Callaway Joe. Hey, I'm not alone, especially with Thomas hanging out in the Caribbean. He's a solid stash. Hope Thomas is doing well. I'd rather pick up stash run. Yeah, that's the only thing I would say. You need running back depth. Like, that's the value of a running back of a roster space. But I assume Joe has got a well-maintained bench, but running back value, he's in that range of he might be outpriced by a good running back. add. Should have just let Franz take that one. I guess they're in the same league. Seen plenty of guys produce with a bad combine, but he's less viable because of Dalvin's brother. I don't get that argument at all. James Cook we're talking about, right? They're not on the same team as Isaiah. I think Isaiah Pacheco's got an earlier role and going to be pretty good. I just don't think he's got the upside at all. Or someone if Isaiah Spiller got a role, and it's definitely his combine that started his fall. Are we going backwards in the chat? And sometimes I apologize, Mr. Scampers. Am I alive? I sure hope so, Mr. Scampers. That's an awesome name. Peter, Russ, and Zach, what are you doing currently to improve your teams? Well, recently I traded for Jalen Waddle. I'm trying to decide if I'm really. Last year I was top 3 in the DLF Pods League, and I tried to push, and it wasn't working, so I sold Najee Harris and stuff. This year, looking at the rosters, I think I might be less competitive, so I'm trying to figure out what I want to do about that. Recently, I plugged a lot of value from Muth and Brown into one player I think is going to have a higher value for a longer period of time than both. So I've been trying to work on that in my DLF league. Outside of that, I got a bunch of rebuilding rosters doing the standard rebuild stuff.
Yeah, so this is the time of year where I start looking at redraft ADP, and I don't play much redraft anymore, just because Dynasty kind of took over, especially with doing the podcasts and being on Twitter. But I'll look at redraft ADP. I'll look at Dynasty ADP. I'll see where there are players that are going much higher in redraft than they are in Dynasty, and I'll try to exploit that. Where like I'll either try to get the value of the Dynasty players before people get excited about them for a redraft, or I'll identify players that the redraft community is higher on that Dynasty is going to come up on, and then find the players that are being, to my estimation, undervalued, and so start looking for trade targets. Like that's where I'm at, Joe, is I start looking at the different ADPs, identifying players that I want to go get. Cortland Sutton is one right now, and we talked about him a little earlier, but Cortland Sutton I think is being undervalued right now because nobody knows what to do with him yet. You haven't seen Russell Wilson in camp yet. When that happens, it's all gonna come to a head.
Yeah, honestly, the simplest answer is I'm trying to target those targets I've identified both in that sheet that I maintain, and I regularly say on here I'm trying to get Waddle at a high level. He's the highest level value player I actually target. Najee Harris was on the list, but as I was just admitting, I think his value is too good, too accurate. To run through them, I talked about the DLF Pod League. Kaleidoscope is a bit of a weird league, so it's hard to explain, but again, it's very much a league you want to try and compete in every year, which I love. And I'm trying to get those targets that I've been listing. We could go back through them. But no name league, I'm waiting for our rookie draft to start. I'm kind of in a holding pattern. Like I've sent a few trade offers out. I don't think anyone's really ready to get going in that one until the rookie draft. So I've been letting that one lie. Nickelodeon, that's the one, my Andrew Luck Cry league. I've been forced to acknowledge that it's just a full rebuild last year, and I'm doing pretty well. I'm expecting it to collapse soon because I think that's almost turned the corner back into a competitive team, especially if Trevor Lawrence can come back.
You think they're afraid of you? Just shut it down.
Trade Addicts, I've been trying to undo. Like I just went nuts in that because it's a Trade Addicts league and I needed to practice, but I've been trying to reclaim some kind of a reasonable roster because I basically had zip left. I was just throwing random trades out. I've evacuated the quarterback position except for bringing in Jimmy Garoppolo. Because like I say, I'm just selling out value, trying to roll value up. That's very much a rebuild league. I haven't done much in there lately. And the other one I've got is a contract league. So again, it's a little... I don't make many moves in that. Contract leagues, I'm doing it because John said, come do this league. And I wanted to be in a league with John. John leagues are just mind-blowing to me.
That's dangerous, Peter.
They're way too complicated for me. And Russ was in that and he left because he's contract leagues are difficult. They require
Yeah.
maintenance. I just don't have the knack for him yet. I'm trying to learn in that league. Need to add another one. Shoot, yeah, I'm alive too. Then that rules. It sure does that you're all alive. Luis Rodriguez, if you can crash out on the insane value of carb hits, what kind of haul would you be looking for? 3 first-round picks plus, because that's above what I think is a reasonable value of any player. But I mean, do you have a good way of arguing that? I'm going to have to open something up to
No, I
remind
think
you.
you're right, because I think that he's right in that same range with like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I think that you could put maybe a second with him or a 24 first and go get one of those quarterbacks if it's a super flex league. So look at Josh Allen, Herbert, Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, like that tier. Like I think you can do that with Pitts, and so that's what I would be trying to do is something like that.
And yeah, what we've been saying is trade into 2023 or trade back into like the 2020, 2021 wide receivers. That's really kind of my goal. I expect a lot of breakouts at running back this year, but I don't think we're going to look at the running backs that are going to carry us for decades. So I'm interested in running backs, but it's mostly a 1-year proposition, depending on where my team is, if I am. And so mostly
Waddle
I'm playing
plus.
with that. Yeah. So the highest value players I'm trading for, assuming Superflex, is Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Jalen Waddle. I think all their values in an interesting spot with upside and longevity of value. The ones I'm really targeting that might rise at running back, it's ETN. I got to take him back off the list now we've said it. But I think Elijah Mitchell is still in that category. I also think Mac Jones, Tua, Trevor Lawrence maybe, but their value is real teetering. There's not a lot of value at wide receiver. At quarterback. At wide receiver, I'm targeting Aaron St. Brown, Devontae Smith, Darnell Mooney if I'm competitive, Rondell Moore just if he's real cheap, because I think some people might be giving up and there's still more potential. Pat Freiermuth at tight end. There are some other players based on different situations, but those are the players I'm trying to increase my rostership of, depending on where the other players in my league are, depending on whose roster they're on, that kind of thing. My list is looking small. I've worked to consolidate that list into a smaller and smaller pile. Russ had to go. If you think you're dead, you're not. No, it's probably philosophy. I couldn't comment. Living with Cousin Live. God, guys, not philosophy, please. Not at the best of times, especially not at midnight. And well, I actually played the 4th overall in my startup for Juju. Yeah, I missed the best selling windows at this point. I hope he has a good season. I don't think I can give better advice. And if he does, like, again, I don't think he's an immediate sell if he pays off right now.
But don't. So, Mr. Scampers, you gotta shed that idea that you paid the number 4 overall for him.
Spent cost fallacy.
That's sunk cost. Like that doesn't matter now. So if you get a good deal for Juju, the way he's priced now, great. Otherwise, hang on to him and see if you can recoup that value with points. Because to me, and Peter, we talked about this, but there are 3 distinct types of value. Now you're at the points value for Juju.
Yeah. And I think it will happen. That's why I've got him ranked. He's on my list to target somewhere. Yeah, he's actually on Team Old Guy. That's where I put him. I would actively trade him as a team for points. That's literally what Zach was saying. So yeah, I'm in the same place. Russ, 12. We'll get out of here too soon. Russ, Zach, sorry, I know I'm keeping you. 12-team Superflex. Could you trade Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson, and Daniel Jones, or
gotta be Daniel
Devontae
Jones.
Adams? Yeah. 2023 third and 5th, and a 24th third. This is a pieces and pieces. A 5th for Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, a 23 first, a 23 second, 24 first. This is Russell Wilson for a whole bunch. And maybe Russell Wilson and Adams. I mean,
I would trade Adams the 3rd and the 5th and the 3rd and the 5th to get that package. Let's just say
I'd take these 3rds and 5ths out. They're gonna feel nickel and dime. I would feel nickel and dime. Wilson.
I don't know. I think Rush, you're gonna end up. It's gonna be so convoluted. Like I think I would pare that down. It's kind of like what Peter was talking about earlier with his trade with John Bosch, where there was a 2nd and a 3rd and another piece involved, and he was just like, it's too much. Let's figure out what I actually want and what will actually get done. And I think that's what you've got to do is start paring this down.
Feels like there's a trade calculator going on. You keep adding smaller and smaller pieces to try and make the values the same, and it just becomes. I don't think they work well. Instead, this is Russell Wilson, Daniel Jones, fine. I guess he's a starter, and Devontae Adams for Trey Lance, Zach Wilson, 2 firsts and a 2nd.
Try to do something like Daniel Jones and Adams for Lance and a 23 first.
That's the way I'd pay, because I'd want to keep Wilson of the 3.
Yeah,
and I think you might. Yeah, I think that would be a good way of paring this down, especially getting the risk of Zach Wilson off the other side. So is it fair? I'm assuming this value is well balanced. I think it gets rejected, or at least gets countered.
That's one of those I feel like if I got that in my inbox, I would just be like, I have no idea. I'm going to reject it. Like, I just don't even want to think about all that. Like, I don't know.
And before you think about the upside of Wilson and Adams as that, you're going to see 3rds and 5ths for a 1st and a 1st and a 2nd. And then you're like, I think your eye gets drawn to the wrong place. But hopefully, I think if you consolidate that trade, it's definitely something you can get done or something like it. Looking to trade Chubb for a young, hopefully high-end 1st plus a 1st. High-end wide receiver plus a 1st. Chubb gets a high-end wide receiver and a 1st. I don't think so.
I think Chubb's
pretty close. Dynasty players love him.
So I traded Nick Chubb for a 1st in one of my Dynasty leagues this year. Like, for a 23 first. So to me, maybe Gabby, like, I don't know, because I'm not in your league. Maybe you can do that. Like give that a shot. I'll tell you, where is, I'll look this up, but Devontae Smith may be the one that you want to target there.
He's got Elijah Moore written here. I think Smith is a cheaper, like, people think less of him, even though I kind of like both just as well. So I think Smith's a good way to go. Smith plus a 1st for Chubb. I think you could get something like that, though.
Or Sutton.
Amon-Ra St. Brown. Again, I go through my list and see what he's got and what he might be willing to go. And those are the 3: Ra, Smith, Darnell Mooney. He's much more of a points play, though. So he's kind of, take that into consideration. I would check what the Deontay Johnson roster feels like. Again, I'm seeing some pretty good value in Deontay Johnson right now. Ayuk is good. Ayuk's a good one. You could get that easy, I think, for Ayuk, and I would do that. Yeah. I think Ayuk and Smith are probably our 2 best options. Competing team's going to be there.
So at the very, like, shoot for one of those, shoot for the high and shoot for more, but understand that there are other players that you could tear down to if you had to.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to skip over some conversation a little bit just so we don't miss out on too many actual questions. I'm really late. No problem, Nicholas J. So are we. But not a tight end premium for Pitts in the 12-team startup. I see him going 10th to 12th. This is back to the where do you see him going. I really think even in non-premium, he's a 1st, 2nd round pick in most Dynasty startups pretty easily. 10th to 12th, start. Is that round in the first? No, yeah. So similar
Yeah,
feelings.
that's about where he's going. So, yeah. Cook, Algier 3 or 4. That's still wild. That's still wild.
It's someone took Isaiah. It gets worse. Someone took Isaiah Pacheco at 110. Pacheco, sorry. Apologies. That seems wild to me too. But I mean, it's 2022. It's the year to do it, I guess. It's the best I can say to him. Good luck. Jesse Riddle. Wow. Yeah, I'm a little blown away by that one too. Wants to make a real run. What did you do with AJ Brown and got it? If you're trying to make a run, I think you hold both of those guys. Their upside is in points is better than their value right now.
I gotta be honest, and I'm shopping AJ Brown right now.
What for them?
Well, for players in that same
The same thing
in
like
that same tier. So like in the CeeDee Lamb, Waddle, like the guy, but the guys that I'm more confident in their situations. Like you've seen AJ Brown do it, you've seen these other guys do it. To me, it's a lot like DK Metcalf for me. But the difference is it's moving teams rather than having the new quarterback. So it's you know what I mean?
I like the sell, hold, or pray. That's the right kind of energy.
But I like the Goddard. I'm holding Goddard. I think
what leans me to just pray is I think AJ Brown still he does have that upside. I don't know you get that level of upside for selling AJ Brown. Like I mean, if you can get Waddle, maybe. But that's a long shot that he's not.
So here's a question. I made an offer of AJ Brown for, and I have to look it up. Because I can't remember if it was a player or if it was a 23 first. It was. Yeah, it was AJ Brown, a 23 for AJ Brown for 23 first and David Bell. I know I hit you right where.
I'm just again, if I'm leading trying to win this year, I like AJ Brown right there.
No,
that's a first and a second in 2022, technically. For AJ Brown, like what other top 5 wide receiver would we trade that for?
But again, it's potential. It's potential, and
I get it, and the right trade will get me off AJ Brown, and I think you're right on Goddard. Just because the situation's uncertain, he's a top 5 tight end. Easily easily be that again. So we're on the fence. We're strongly undecided. AJ. Explore trades, but I would need a good one. I would need a good one. I don't, especially if you're competing that first and David Bell doesn't do it for you. So Deontay in a first, I'd be interested. I like that. I like that a lot. Amon-Ra on a first, I do. Yeah. So see what trades you can get. But if you can't, I'm okay rolling the dice. Right now, that's what I'm trying to do.
I mean, I think
draft him in the Scott Fishbowl, damn it.
I think you can get Waddle and a sweetener, like a little, not a lot, but like a little something for AJ Brown.
A little something.
Yeah,
I don't mind that.
So.
Okay, hopefully that helps. Sorry, Johnny here wants to know who our pick at 102 is. And this is rookie dress. He hates this pick because he can't get Breece Hall, and it's just one big tier after that. I know, I understand your feel. Treylon Burks is my 102 this year.
Yep.
And it's a thick ass tier. I get it. It's not easy being the 102 this year, but that's who I pick. And I actually traded into Treylon Burks in one league. So, like, we'll go down together if you do. Or take Wilson. Do you think one of them's safer? I know we all say Burks, that's our pick, but do you feel like Wilson's somehow safer? Because that's what I get, some version of that a lot.
I don't think that there is a safer in this class. Like I don't like. I think I had Burks graded out as my wide receiver 1 pre-draft. He went in the first round. He went 18 to Tennessee, who traded AJ Brown to ensure that they got
Go and get
Burks.
him. Yeah.
So like I there's nothing that changed my mind.
I think even you said he's got stuff to learn, and that could slow his development. I don't know. I just take Burks, but I want to check I'm not missing something.
But it's like to me,
we don't know.
None of these receivers compare favorably to the best receivers we've seen in the last 3 or 4 classes. So take that for what it's worth.
Do you know Russ's answer to this?
I don't.
I think he might be a London guy, but I think he's just a solid tier guy. Like it's London, it's Wilson, it's
I mean,
he has a strong
there's
preference.
not that much.
I have a strong preference for Burks over the 103, even though his value's fallen. Like I take Burks. I don't think I'm drafting him too high if I get him as 2. So while I hate the pick and I understand why you would hate it, that's what I do.
Johnny, if you don't have a preference between the next 6, trade back, get an early second, take whoever is left there, be happy with it, and then get David Bell in the early second and be really happy with it.
Again,
or Trey McBride
this year.
Yeah. Yep.
To trade into next year, trade into a player. Those are ideal. But if you have to make the pick, personally, I take Burks. You're gonna have to take your own swing, of course. Franz here says go Drake London. Honestly, for me, it's very close. I lean Burks over London. It's written in front of you.
I got Burks, Wilson, London, but they're all reasonably close. I think Burks, Wilson, London.
There you go. Burks, London, Wilson. But again, those 2 are very close to me. But that's the order I take them if I can't trade. Brendan, rebuild, not looking to compete this year. I have my core Lance, Brees, CD, Deontay, DJ Moore, Fairmouth as my core with 423. That seems solid, man. That seems like a good team to have going into this year.
The two that could lose value over the next 2 years are the older receivers, and I say use older kind of tongue in cheek, but Deontay Johnson and DJ Moore are the 2 that I think could lose value.
I know that's where it gets tricky. John Bosch does the one exercise he still does is try to rank players next year. It's a really good exercise. This is a really good question to ask yourself. For instance, that makes sense. What Zach just said is probably the smartest answer. But if CD doesn't break into the top 12 this year, it's him. If Lance doesn't get the job, it's easily him. So sometimes age doesn't do it for you. Likelihood is CD breaks out, Lance has the job, and Moore and Deontay are more likely to drop in value a little bit. But I mean, it's real difficult. That's why we like these players. They're good. We don't think they should fail to increase or maintain value. But it's a really good exercise to run yourself through. I would definitely check out. I'm assuming he's still posting that as well. He ranks them, and you can see where he thinks they're going to be next year. It's a really good exercise to do. Trade down, always trade down. Let's see, questions. The chat's still skipping on me. I've got this dread feeling we're still piling up questions. Jonathan Taylor for a first, a 24 for 2 firsts and Jacobs. One of them's 23. Is that good enough?
No, I don't think it is for me. It's close, but I want to get at least 2 23 firsts and then then a Jacob, then something else. The 24 first is just a little too far out for me.
I think that's value. I think Jacobs is like a 22 first value, though, which is a problem I would look at. Yep. But again, if I'm in any way, like I think my team's decent, I probably just ride the upside of Jonathan Taylor, despite the lack of targets and receptions. Like he's running back 2 this year. But I think it's fair. I
And
think it's fairish,
10 team, I'm trying to consolidate too. And so I
That's
don't
true.
want
Yeah,
I
that's a
don't
good
want Jacobs because he's not a a consolidate. He's not one of the horses. He's okay. He's a pony. Like he's a running back too, but he's not the running back too, which is what I'm trying to do in a 10 team.
Yeah, I think Mr. Scampers feels much like we did about that trade with all the thirds and fifths. It's almost a psychology aspect you talk about it. If people just see a trade and they're like, they're almost less likely, even if the value's good. I think it's worth considering about the cleaner trade offer you can send. Honestly, I think you have a better chance. Is Christian Kirkwood a 23 second?
Yeah, why not? Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, seconds don't matter to me. Future Dynasty players will have robot companions to analyze all. See, I podcast every Wednesday night live with my robot companion at 9:30 on the Dynasty Grind.
Not a robot, just don't have a life. Don't worry about it. But I appreciate it. Yeah, can't wait till the robots take over. I, for one, welcome my robot overlords. I want that on the record for when they get here.
I always say please and thank you to Alexa when I ask her questions.
Same thing. I'm always, honestly, always very nice to inanimate objects. I don't know which ones are going to rule us in the future, but you never know. Fields and Goddard for Lance and a 23 second. Non-tight end premium. The only way this trade makes sense to me if it's super flex, I'll come at it from that angle as Lance.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's not super flex, it's still Lance. Like just the upside. Like Fields could be good. Fields could be a top 6 or 7, but Lance could be higher than that.
I want to point out some people are saying thank you, and I really appreciate it. Really appreciate you guys and girls being here. Like, absolutely, I can't tell you how much. I'm only skipping over it because I'm seeing it, and Zach will see it because we go over the comments, and I'm sure he dutifully goes over the comments on the video afterwards.
Yeah, I definitely rewatch. Make sure. Yeah.
It's not just me answering them. But no, we really do appreciate it. I'm skipping them just because I got to get Zach to bed, or like his wife will kill me, or he'll kill me, or someone will kill me eventually. It's fun robot speculation, though, to be fair. Thank you very much, guys. Let me see. Do I take a QB or tight end in the 5th? It's all about who's available, bud. Are you talking Scott Fishbowl or regular draft? That kind of information helps. Lamar Jackson is available, so is Hurts. Waller, Schultz, got it. I don't know if this is a super flex. Assume a super flex. Which one do you take? I don't think if it's a super flex, Lamar Jackson and Hurts aren't available.
Right,
so
in the 5th.
If it is, I take Lamar Jackson. If not, I'm not taking a quarterback in the 5th, and I lean Waller. Waller's my favorite.
It's a 10-team, 1 quarterback PPR.
Okay, there you
I
go.
just scroll back up. Yeah. I still don't think I don't think I'm taking a tight end or a quarterback at the end of the 5th. I think that there are still players in a 10-team super flex league. And again, Nicole, like I know it's hard to look at your roster and not have a lineup filled out yet. Like it really
is. We're not just saying I'm actively doing that right now. Like I need to fill my. It's tempting,
but especially in Dynasty, you don't have to do take the best players that are there regardless of position. So you might be looking at some of those young wide receivers that we talked about. So like Elijah Moore, like Marquise Brown, you could be looking at that type of player in that area. I would rather have them over the tight ends or the quarterbacks in a 10-team, 1 quarterback league. The Lamar Jackson is actually tempting, but not this early. Because I think Lamar Jackson is one of the few quarterbacks who does have that potential to dominate the position, which in a 10-team is what you're looking for. And
yeah, Nicole, Zach said it perfectly. I would say that exercise that we were just talking about is a good way of deciding who to pick. Kind of run that in the background. Who do I think is more likely to be of greater value next year? It's a shorthand way of thinking about who to draft. You really want to think about points, but if you're unsure, think about value. Because the difference between value and just a regular dynasty or regular redraft is that you need to be able to maintain your roster, change your roster, even though you don't have more draft picks. That's where value comes in. So it's a decent second question. Who's going to score more points?
But
who's going to be worth more next year? Like
of those players, it's Lamar Jackson. I'm not sure of all the available players.
Biggest difference maker.
Yeah. Yep.
And check ADP. You don't have to draft by ADP, but just go look at, like, there are so many free sources of it now. Check Keep Trade Cut and just give you an idea of who other people are taking to give you a rough idea of who's not going to be available the next round.
Yep.
It's a good way of going about it. I do that. That's literally how I'll draft. That's the idea of a cheat sheet, in my opinion. Is it the Monday before the season starts? I don't know. Rookie drafts this year is a year to trade out, trade down, try to get value. I don't think some rookies are going to do some great things this year. They always do. I don't think we're going to be as good at guessing who this year. And so I want to be out till I know who it is, and then I'll come back in. If forced, it's Breece Hall, then Burks, then one big question mark. I like David Bell, and I like Trey McBride in the second round, or as cheap as I can get him. That's probably my quickest thoughts.
Yeah, but I like this. Like the thought that they had was, Kenneth Walker, Walker the third could drop if Penny starts. And yeah, like there are going to be some of those things. I think that if you see Juju win the job in the slot in Kansas City, then the Sky Moore hive gets quiet. So they're going to. I think Christian Watson is going to take a nosedive too. So like there are going to be some of these things. You may end up seeing Jameson Williams fall a little bit just because out of sight, out of mind. He's not going to play to start the season. So there's some little psychological things that you can exploit with your rookie draft that far. And also, if somebody gets injured in the preseason, and not that you wish that on anybody, because we don't, like, we want everybody to be happy and healthy. If you have a rookie that gets injured in the preseason and your draft isn't till Monday before the season, there could be value there where you could get one of these players who is going top 4 or 5 later because of that injury. And I also think David Bell is going to rise. I think David Bell is going to be the 2 in Cleveland.
Yeah. And Nicole, I was just going to quickly point out, you're drafting good players. Keep drafting good players, not good positions.
Yeah.
Like Franz has got a good suggestion. Is Sutton available? I think he's a really interesting pick this year. But you're identifying good players. Keep doing that.
Yeah, Sutton, Zeke, and again, like Lamar Jackson is the best player out of the players that you listed, but especially the way you started, the first year in a dynasty is the easiest year to win. So keep hammering the players that are scoring.
Like, it's easy to think, what about my tight end? Because I've got 2 good top 12 running backs, but 3 top 12 running backs is so much better than 2. Because then, honestly,
like half again is good.
Cleanest I can say that. Zach, closing thoughts, ideas, anything you want to say? Because we probably got to get out of here. I'm really sorry, guys. We started on time this week, though. We are here at 9:30 every week, except for last week, which was entirely my fault. Apologize. And we will be back again next week. Zach, anything more?
I got nothing, Peter. That's I appreciate everybody in the chat, everybody rolling with us. I appreciate you. This has been a lot of fun. Look over there.